No Z. What is it? I don't even remember how to do it anymore. No G with a Z. Pod. Thank you, James J. Washington, for reminding me how my own show starts off. But I forgot because it's been so long. This is the Smoking Guns podcast. We are a podcast that deals with football in San Antonio, specifically football from the San Antonio Gunslingers.
Yep.
Of the indoor football league, indoor football league. I got it right. And man, it's new. It's a new season, and I'm freaked out a little bit. We also cover the Brahmas of the UFL. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that's going to look like and what we know and what we don't in the back half. But here, starting off the new year, the fourth season of the Smoking Guns podcast. Believe it or not, because we've been with the Gunslingers. We are the longest tenured members around Gunslingers. Have you guys realized that? Leo and RC, like no one has been connected with the team as long as the three of us have.
Wow, we connected with the team before they had a initial roster.
We have had ownership changes. We've had coaches changes. We've had rosters turnover. We have been the longest, but we've got a whole new roster, a new coach, a new league, a new everything. And one of those new things we have is a new QB1, Sam Casronova, a name that Gunslingers fans are familiar with, but they have not been cheering for Sam Castronova up until this point. Like this will be new for some folks as we begin to cheer for Sam Castronova. Sam, how you doing? You're muted, bud.
Oh, I was muted.
There you go.
There we go.
I said they might not have been cheering for me, but they've been pretty loud. I've heard them for sure.
True statement.
That's our Gunslinger posse.
My first question is pretty simple. What is it going to feel like to win 3 championships with 3 different teams in 2 different leagues in your career? Because we're going to win the championship this year. You won with Albany. You won with Jacksonville. Now you're going to win a championship in a completely different league with San Antonio. What's that going to be like? Like, how's that going to feel?
Well, I mean, if when we win, I should say, I guess it would feel pretty normal at this point. If it's the 3rd year in a row, it would just feel like that's supposed to happen.
Just another ring.
It would feel like a lot of hard work again that it paid off, and God would be good, and we get to celebrate this time in San Antonio.
So you're moving to leagues. You've done your work in the National Arena League. Have you ever played IFL before? Have you ever been called up here to IFL before?
No. I started Carolina in 2021, the year after COVID. Year after the season didn't happen because of COVID, and then 22 was in Albany, won the championship. 23 started in Albany, ended in Jacksonville, and that's my season of years after college.
So what makes you decide San Antonio and the Gunslingers? I guess it's probably has a lot to do with a guy named Tom.
A guy named Tom had a pretty significant role in it. You know what else is I've always loved the colors. Because of the red, white, and blue. I've always been jealous of jerseys, so that was a big exciting factor. Ownership has been amazing so far to me. Even those fan jerseys, I mean, those were so cool. All my family wanted some, all my friends, so those have been awesome. And the fans reaching out, so I mean, it was a whole bunch of things. But yeah, Coach Manas definitely had a big part in bringing me down there.
So tell us about your relationship with Coach Manas. Why is it important enough to move from Jacksonville, where you just won a championship? I know that they were willing to bring you along with them into the IFL and make you a part of their team, the leader of their team there. You did that last year. You loved being in Jacksonville, from what I hear. What is it about working with Tom that makes it that big a deal for you to switch?
Coach Manas is we have a lot of the same beliefs as far as faith and family first, and then football. So he, I think that's the reason he's done a good job of winning, is because a lot of people think, oh, it's football, but first you got to have a little bit of faith behind you, and if you find good people, that's kind of family based. We make the team family based. We try and grow as brothers, and then we go on to the football part of things. So I think we think the same way in a lot of those things, and Coach Renas does a great job of being a leader, but also letting the players on the team lead. So I think that's another reason he wanted me here, and guys like DJ and stuff like that. So I think that's a big part of it.
So, Sam, I think it's interesting that you talk about the concept of family, and that being a big thing with Coach Manas, and a big reason to join the Gunslingers organization, because the Gunslingers have historically been big on a feeling of family between the players, the organization, the fan base, so much so that with this big changes coming and going into the IFL and the obvious turnaround that we're going to have roster-wise, some fans are a little bit, there's a sting because, losing some of those guys that have been around, the OG, some OG players that were around from day one and kind of been continuing through the history of this organization, this very young organization. There's been this sense of family where now all of a sudden a lot is going to change. But I do want to stress and maybe make some of those fans feel a little bit better, that sting a little bit less, particularly when it comes to our QB1 here, Sam Casronova. For those of you that don't know, looking back last season, Sam, you had one of the most remarkable seasons any quarterback statistically could look at and say, I mean, what was it, 184 pass attempts? And when you look at that, 184 pass attempts across the two teams, you played for two different teams because of, stuff that happened within the league and the Albany team, the Albany organization not being around for the entire season. You look at 65 total touchdowns, and most amazingly, only 2 interceptions across those 284 pass attempts. That is absolutely phenomenal. Now we have to temper expectations because the odds of duplicating of season is, a very, very high order. But what is your expectation going into this season? New league, being familiar with Coach Manas and familiar with some of the guys that you're going to have around. Do you have any personal goals? Obviously, the goal is championship for the team. Team goals are always come before personal goals, but those personal goals help build towards that team aspect. What are your feelings coming off of last season, and what's your expectation for the second one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what makes me a pretty good leader sometimes is I'm not really worried about my own stats and my own things. Like, I won MVP last year, but I wasn't really worried about that. I just want to win a championship. So at this point in my career, it's my 4th season. I mean, I'd love to go the whole season without throwing an interception. That'd be pretty cool. I tried to do it last year. I was close, but no, my goal is to win a championship. And I think those are my regular season stats, though, because I actually ended with 79 total touchdowns. But that's not a big deal. But regardless of that, to say the goal would be to somehow go the whole season with no picks and come out with another ring on my finger.
Awesome.
Nice. My question to you is, so it's almost going to be like 9 months before you start the season again. What's your routine to keep game day ready?
I'll be honest. I play a lot of golf. I do that. Doesn't necessarily keep me in shape, but it keeps me mentally sane. It's one of the things I just love to be out in nature and God's nature, and it's kind of a soothing thing. But I play a lot of basketball when I'm back home to try and stay in shape, because in Buffalo there's a lot of really good food, but it's not very good for you. So I try not to gain any weight back home. So I play a lot of basketball, and then just working out. Vinny Gregory, one of the receivers that's also signed, he played with me in junior college. So we start going to a trainer down here or up here. We're working out together 2-3 days a week, and then just trying to stay in shape doing that.
Hate to break it to you, Sam, you're going to have the same problem with food here in San Antonio.
I've already heard Coach Manas every time I talk to him. Oh, you got to try this restaurant. Oh, you got to try this restaurant. I said, oh,
yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. Good food that's not necessarily good for you when it comes to San Antonio. Same.
Yeah.
We do that. We do the food well, but it's not like health food.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to be very disciplined this season.
So what are you nervous at all about a switch in leagues? Going from the NAL, a place that you spent 3 years, you won 2 championships, you're moving into something where there are different rules, there are different expectations, there are different things that you can and can't do as offensively. Does this make you nervous at all? Have you done a lot of studying of rule books and trying to figure out what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done necessarily the rule book part. I watched some games and just try to pick up some rules here and there. It's definitely going to be an adjustment, but I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I think it's also helpful that Coach Fuller, our offensive coordinator, has coached in the IFL before, so I think that's going to be a huge help for me, obviously. And then obviously a lot of the guys, some of the guys have IFL experience, so I think maybe the first week or so of camp, we might be like, whoa, wait, what does that mean? Or, whoa, what's this mean? But I think by the time game time rolls around, I think we should be full guns up.
There you go. Guns up.
Nice.
He's got it. He's got it figured out already.
You got the lingo.
Yes, ma'am.
What you talk about the ownership, and we like to give them a lot of nods and props too, because they really treat us very well as a show. We'll get him back, I'm sure. And just there you No, you're good. Tell us about your experience with ownership and how it's differed from maybe some of the other teams that you've been a part of. I'm sure you've had great other ownership experiences. I'm not asking you to badmouth Jacksonville, although if you want to, you can do that here. We'll let you. But how has the ownership been here in relation to other places you've been?
Yeah, no, I just from the start, Coach Manas had seemed like he had a great relationship with them, and then sometimes when we were kind of figuring things out, if I was going to sign, when I was going to sign, I would talk with all 3 of them on the phone, and we just had great conversations, and they said the same thing I always said is family first, and they just were super welcoming towards me, obviously excited to have me, and I was excited to meet with them. I seen all the great stuff Coach Manas is telling me all the time, all the different stuff they're getting for the team and everything. So I've just been super excited to get down there and meet them in person because they've been so welcoming towards me. So it's exciting.
So, Sam, nothing against you, but everybody knows very well on this show, I have said over and over again that I have a favorite football player on the planet, and his name is one Kali Rashad Sr. Have you had any chance to talk with or work with Kali, and what are your thoughts on him?
Number one, I don't blame you at all because he's an electric football player. Every time we would kick him the ball last year, I would be pooping my pants. But we haven't been able to work out at all together. We're a little far away right now, but even after games last year, I would just tell him, hey, great game. I had a lot of respect for you. And we talked a little bit this year going into the season, just how we're excited to get to play together finally. And he's going to make me look really good. So I can just throw him some quick little passes and it'll take him 40 yards for a touchdown.
Nice.
So
Can't
in
wait to
every
see that.
situation, there's pros and cons. So what's one thing you're most looking forward to, and what's one thing that you're a little bit worried about?
Interesting. Honestly, I mean, most looking forward to, I would probably just say the fans and the jerseys. Like I said, I love the jersey colors, but also the fans. They show out down there, so I'm excited to be able to play in front of them. And then the only real con I would just say would just be being so far from home. I got another baby coming in a month, so that's going to be a lot going on for my wife back here. She's a superstar, so hopefully during the bye weeks I can get home real quick and see them. But that's the only con I can think of right now.
RC got a chance to have your mom on. Did you listen to your mom?
Oh yeah, yep. She was so nervous. It was so funny because she doesn't really do things like that very often. So she's like, I don't know, what if I mess up with this? I said, Mom, I think it's it's not live. It's pre-recorded. Isn't hers was? I said, you're gonna be okay. Yeah. Just take your time. But she's like, I didn't know what to say sometimes. I said, it's okay. I think she did a great job though.
She did amazing. She did amazing.
She had a lot of fun too. She wouldn't mind doing it again, I bet.
Okay. Two things that were really cool about that. My day job, I don't get to do this for a living because being a podcast host does not make money unless you have a real name. But my day job is I'm a pastor. So connecting with seeing your family and how you're connected to your faith was a big deal for me.
Oh,
And then
awesome.
your mom, I don't know what she did, but she had the most crystal clear, excellent audio setup. Like I thought she was in a studio with RC. She's got a better technically than RC did. Like she had whatever
Thanks a lot there.
microphone,
Thanks a lot there.
That's
whatever
my
she
dad.
was
My
using.
dad's
And I need to find out what that's like.
You need to talk to my dad. My dad's a pastor too. You need to talk to my dad, and he's the big tech guy, so he probably had her set up very nicely for that one.
Oh, I mean, crystal clear. Like it sounded like she was sitting in a studio. I'm sitting there listening because I edit the shows and package them to go out, and I'm sitting there listening to it, and I'm going, man, they have some professional equipment. That whatever microphone she's using is excellent. No, it was really impressive. It was really impressive.
Yes, I definitely looking forward to hanging out with her, tailgating, and whenever she can come down for a game.
Yeah, they'll definitely be down for a few.
Nice.
Well, we don't want to keep you too long. I know that you've got to get now. You have one already, and you say you got another on the way. You have a son, right?
Yeah, honey, bring that boy here real quick.
Oh, get to meet him.
Yeah, you'll get to see him. He is.
How old is he?
15 months. He turned 1 in September. He is a riot right now. This age is super fun. It's crazy, but it's super fun. And
cool.
he started walking like he took his first steps at 10 months, and then he started really taking off right around 1 year old. And he is just nuts right now. Anytime the door opens, he's like a little dog. He just takes off out there. And we're like, Tatum, it's 25 degrees. You can't do that right now. But he loves it. He loves it. He loves the adventure. He's curious. So he's a lot of fun. And then got another boy coming February 20th.
Wow.
My wife's too.
Very cool.
Here he is. Oh.
Let's see this handsome boy.
What's up, dude?
She's so cute.
Say
Hi, sweetheart.
Say hi.
Say hi.
There you go.
Future football player.
Eddie's working that arm. He's got the arm.
Take my phone too here. But yeah,
well, we know it's getting close to bedtime. We want to make sure that he gets the rest that he needs. Michael Wayne Davis says, is he catching passes from you already? I bet he is.
I'm trying to, but he's the size right now. He might have to be an offensive lineman.
That'll work. That'll work. Protection is important, and if he needs to be an offensive lineman for somebody, that'll work too.
Absolutely.
Well, Sam, we are very excited.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. We'll do it again, and super excited to get down there and get to winning.
That's right.
Very
Thanks for joining us.
What things will be like. Guns up. Great having you.
All right, have a good one.
Bye,
good luck to your Bills.
There you go. Quarterback 1, Sam Castronova. Let's not even pretend. Like, I know there are other quarterbacks on the roster. I understand all of that. I know that I'm sure Coach Manas tells everybody that everything's up for grabs, but let's not pretend anything other than Sam Castronova, who's been an MVP. He's won 2 straight championships.
Yes.
That is your QB1. You can go ahead and ink that on your depth chart for the Gunslingers.
This is not his first rodeo.
No,
for sure, sure, literally. Do we have a back? Michael Wayne Davis says, "Do we have a backup quarterback?" I'm sure we do. I know that they've signed at least 1 or 2 other guys. Now, right now, the roster is. Last I heard, the roster was at 38. They can carry that into camp, but then they have to pare that down to like 24. Once we get into the season. So some of those guys and some of those positions, as we've dealt with throughout our time with the arena football, sometimes you got to run without a backup quarterback on your roster, and you got a wide receiver that has played quarterback before, and they are your backup. So I don't know how coach is going to handle that. One of these days we'll get to ask him, or you can ask him on Branded, because they're coming back this week, and they're going to do their weekly show this week. So maybe you float that question to him about, hey, what's our backup quarterback situation look like? But the most popular person in football is always the backup quarterback, except here in San Antonio. Let's not get backup talk going around Sam. We have a number one guy. Even last year, Arvell Nelson, we all started talking about Robert Kent there near the end of the season. Backup guy's always the most popular guy. He's always the guy everybody wants to see what they got in their backup.
Philip, do we know when camp starts?
No. February. I
would imagine February, sometime in February. Yeah.
That's around the corner.
Yeah, things are gonna get rolling really fast once they do. Speculating on the QB situation, I would add to what Philip said and definitely say we have our QB1 and ain't nothing gonna change that, short of, and I'm knocking on wood right now, any kind of injury. But as far as a backup, maybe I think ideally with roster limitations and stuff like that in the type of league that we're in, a multi-talented guy, someone that plays receiver but can also in a pinch go under center and throw some passes if something were to happen or we need to put somebody in there, hopefully only on a very, very temporary basis. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we don't want to think about that. We know we've got a rock solid QB1 option and someone we should be very excited about. Is what I was kind of trying to touch on, just looking at his stats from last season. I don't know if you can find a statistically better season by a quarterback on a professional quarterback at any level. Right. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find better.
That touchdown to interception ratio is just unreal.
Amazing.
And granted, I know the touchdown numbers are inflated because we're talking about indoor football, and I get that. I understand that. I'm talking about the ratio of touchdowns to interceptions. That's unreal.
Look at that. Unreal. Pass attempts to interceptions. If you want to throw out the touchdowns because you say that's an outlier in arena football, well, then look at pass attempts. That's going to match up to whatever kind of football league you're looking at. How many times you throw the ball versus how many times that ball gets thrown to someone on the opposite team. 2 to 284 pass attempts and only 2 went the other direction. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Way less too. Less than 1%. Yeah. Interception. Like that's incredible. He's a good one. We have not cheered for him in the past necessarily, certainly out in Albany. And then last year, I was kind of hoping last year that the Gunslingers would figure him out defensively and we would be like his kryptonite. I don't know that he has kryptonite. Jay Washington says they said about 2 weeks before week 1, I believe. Now make sure that you are tracking when week 1 is, though. Week 1 for the IFL is not the week that the Gunslingers start. Week 1 for the IFL is March 16th. 2 weeks before we start. They have 1 week that is kind of a showcase. They only have 2 games scheduled. And then week 1, week that's almost a week 0. If you're a college football fan, they have that week 0 where they have those showcase kind of games to get you started. And then you get into week 1, which is actually week 2 on their schedule. That's a full schedule, but we have a bye. Yeah. And so we don't actually start until week 3 of the IFL schedule. So
on April 1st,
we actually have.
Is that a joke?
On April
1st.
On Leo's birthday, we get to go beat the Strike Force, which, San Diego and San Antonio, here we are, full circle again.
Talk about, back to the beginning.
Yeah, that's how it all started. That sure for those that don't know, if you don't remember, we started out as a show that covered the commanders of the American
AAL. Alliance of American Football. AAF.
The AAF. And the first game for the San Antonio Commanders was against the San Diego Fleet. San Diego Fleet.
Yes.
So full circle, our first game for the San Antonio Gunslingers this season in the new IFL is going to be against the San Diego Strike Force. However, you never know, but I'm going to go ahead and pencil that in as a win they don't typically put a great team on the field. I don't know if you've paid attention or you've looked, Leo, but San Diego is typically in the bottom half of the league.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm
gonna have to get used to some of those names. A little different.
Right? Strike Force and Gladiators and Panthers and Nighthawks. Like there's a whole bunch of new stuff for us to learn and figure out.
And there's so many more of them too. I mean, we're not in 8-team leagues anymore. Like we were talking earlier before we came on live on the show. This is a significant jump, both in talent and just league size wide. The travel that's going to be involved with the teams and how dispersed they are throughout the country. It's going to be really, really interesting. Yeah,
for sure.
So for those who may not know, what are the top 3 differences between arena football and indoor football?
Well, you're not going to have nets. That's something that you're going to notice as you walk into the Freeman the very first time you get there. There are no nets. They have some of the same rules as far as the deuce. You can still kick a deuce. You can still get a rouge. But as far as using the rebound nets, that's gone. So if you got really used to that last year and you loved that, we only did 1 year with it. But if you really loved it, that's gone. The other thing that you're going to notice immediately when you watch a game is that 2 players go in motion. Instead of just one in the National Arena League or in the arena game, you have 1 receiver that goes into motion. Now you have 2 up on this level. James, I'd have to get back to you. James Palmer says, can't you do a drop punt for a score? That sounds right. I believe that's correct. If you do a drop kick and get it through the uprights, I think you can score a point or so. I've been reading through and watching through some of the rules stuff that we get, but 2 in motion and no nets are the things you're going to immediately notice. And then Michael Wayne Davis brings up a great point.
Yes.
No Ironman football, which the NAL also got rid of, but no Ironman football. You can actually have defensive specialists and offensive specialists on each side of the ball, and that's huge. That's just I was tired of Ironman football. I think it makes the game weaker.
We talked about it at the end of the last season in one of our last podcasts, and we were both over Ironman football. When Ironman football was first introduced, I think we had a show where we kind of talked about it and said, this is a good thing and this is great, but I think we were kind of just being playing politically there, like reinforcing the league and saying, this is great. The NAL.
I'm willing to give anything a shot. We gave it a shot. I didn't like it. We tried it. I didn't like it. Jay Washington said a big difference in the 2 leagues is no coach interference during a play. Who knows? He's coming to the IFL, so he might be right there with us, dude.
In the IFL, but maybe he'll actually get more than just a little slap on the hand for that type of activity this time.
I have heard a rumor.
Do we know who's the kicker?
No, I don't think we do.
No.
Yet. I heard a rumor. This is unsubstantiated. It may be untrue. So maybe I shouldn't even say it, but hey, we're all friends here. I have heard a rumor that the league officiating for the IFL is, 1, aware of what happened in Jacksonville with Coach Gibson, and 2, using the video as a teaching tool for officials in the IFL about what you would do in that situation. Again, just a rumor. Don't know if that's true, but I've heard that they are aware, very aware, have been monitoring and tracking that situation and are using that particular situation as a, hey, if this ever comes up in your game, here's how you handle this situation.
Well, I'm excited to get new refs.
Yeah.
Officiating crews will be different. Yeah.
They will be. They will be. And I don't know that we're going to see. So I don't know if Gary Vaught will end up making his way up. He's been with us through 2 other iterations of leagues. He was with the AAL. He was with the NAL. We'll have to see if he winds up here in the IFL with us. But for the most part, yeah, you're right. Entirely new officiating crews, a league that looks a lot different. It runs like a league should run. I'm not trying to disparage the NAL. A lot of things have changed over there. They may actually end up becoming something very different and different, maybe better for them. But it was not a league that ran like a league down there toward the end. It just didn't feel like it was running properly. And now we're going to see a league that runs like a league should.
Yeah.
We've had the commissioner on here. We've talked with him. I like him. I didn't dislike Chris Siegfried.
No,
I
he was
just kind of,
yeah.
I just kind of, it felt like he was telling me what I wanted to hear a lot. Todd, who we've had on the show already, I get a very good feeling about it. He seems very genuine. He seems like you're going to get what you get with me, and I'm going to be honest with you. I never felt that way with Chris.
Well, listen, I don't want to bash the NAL or Chris or anything. I will say the NAL had a very tough and challenging year last year.
Yes.
With the organizations within that league, almost all of them have moved on. Some, defunct now, didn't have the funding to carry out through a full season. Others needed help, had to rely on ownership from other organizations just to make it through. It was a very challenging year for the NAL, and just for them to make it through a full season is kind of, you got to pat them on the back for just being able to make it that far and then come back and continue with another season. The Cobras are the sole remaining organization from last year in that league, but they will have a season. So kudos to them for enduring that very difficult season and being able to move forward.
Right. It was tough. They've had a complete change in leadership there. Chris is no longer the commissioner. In fact, he's the head coach of the Warhawks, which is what, no, they're not even Warbirds. Now they're the Desert Hawks. Odessa. He's West Texas head coach now. He's not a commissioner anymore. They are in the AFL. We'll see what happens with that Arena Football League. I don't know.
Good luck to all of them.
More power to them. Good, as long as it's good football and they're not, they're not scamming people. I'm okay with good football. I'm excited about where we're at, and I'm very excited about what's moving forward with us. Ralph Judkins checking in with some rules. He says there is a drop kick for 1 point. Walls are not live in passes. The touchback is on the 5-yard line, and there is no back box. The 5-yard line makes a lot of sense for a touchback. They want you to run it out. They want you to try to, because you feel like you can get 5 yards on a kickoff easy.
Yeah.
So they're enticing you to run out and come. Michael Wayne Davis says our first completely stable season. So let's run through this. We had that first season with the AAL. Certainly no stability there. That was rough. I would say that our second season, the first season in the NAL, was stable. We didn't lose any teams in the middle of the year, did we?
I don't think so.
Now, the Gunslingers had the ownership change.
Yeah.
So that is certainly a stability issue. Obviously, last year with Albany and then, everything that happened last year. We don't need to. Yeah, we don't need to remember. We don't need to remember it. But all of that. So, maybe this is our first stable season. Jordan Stubing checking in says TC Stevens from the Cobras is our kicker.
Currently.
Nice.
So
nice. Yeah, and he had a great season as well, so that's exciting. I do remember seeing that post on the Gunslinger site now that he mentions that. I do want to mention though that our first stable season, a lot to be excited about. The IFL, it's pretty much the top of the mountain, regarded as top of the mountain for indoor football or in the arena football realm. But all the credit, or most of the credit, the lion's share of the credit has to go to ownership.
Yes,
sure.
Because they're the ones who've navigated this organization to where it is and to put them in a position to have so much success. Only what we're talking 4 years now into the life of this organization. It is a very young organization, and to be where it is right now and have so much potential and the recognition they get and the respect they have around the different football leagues, that is a huge tribute to the ownership of the organization, and we have a lot to be thankful for from them.
And watching the investment of ownership, and I'm not just talking about current ownership, I'm talking about all the ownership the San Antonio Gunslingers have had. The folks that have been a part of this team and led this team, owned this team, and moved it forward have given their all. The OG ownership, the original ownership that started out, gave everything they had. Yeah. They did not have the same kind of resources that current ownership has, but they gave I don't know if people understand or remember that those guys, the owners of the team, would camp out at the Rose Palace and put the field out before games themselves. Like they did that. They didn't have the same kind of resources that current ownership has, but they poured everything they had into getting us to the point that they got us to. And then Don and James and those guys stepped in, and they have poured an amazing amount of resources and investment into this team to get it to the point that it's at. We have had like 6 people that have invested fully in this thing to get us to this point. That's the current ownership and the previous ownership. They've invested everything they have to get us to this point. To be where we were 4 years ago and be where we are now is amazing. Just amazing. Really impressive.
And one thing that I will say is our fans are amazing. Not once have they faltered in the 4 years that we've done this podcast. They've come along with us for the ride, good, bad, and different, the different rules, the different quarterbacks, the different places where we play, the different turf. I mean, you name it. They stuck there with us. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts to all of our fans. And I hope all of our investors who pay that monthly fee.
Patrons.
Yes, the patrons. I hope they received your Christmas card. That was just a little something from the podcast to say that we love you, we're thinking about you, and we thank you.
Well, and I joked about it when Sam was on, but we really are kind of the historians of this organization right now. I was having conversations here in this off season, in this downtime, with James Stubing and with Ralph Judkins, and telling them about some of the stories, the blue turf story, the amazing game between North Texas and San Antonio there at the Rose Palace that ended in one of the most weird, amazing, ridiculous ways that a game could end. Like all of that. And we've gotten to carry that torch, and we got to kind of be accidentally, we didn't set ourselves up this way, but we kind of became the historians of the San Antonio Gunslingers of arena football by carrying the torch through everything we've seen. We've met with all the head coaches, all 4. There's 4. There may be 3. I don't know where you put Tony Hernandez. But we had him on the show. We've had Coach Q on the show. Fred Shaw did lots of work with us, and now Coach Manas has been connected with us. We get to kind of carry the torch all the way through this point, and it's kind of neat to think about where it was 4 years ago as we were just getting this whole thing started and where it is now. It occurred to me the other day, I was watching Dallas Stars hockey, because I'm a big hockey fan too. I love my Dallas Stars. I've mentioned that on the show before. And they pop up and start talking about buy your season for the Frisco Fighters, buy your season tickets for the Frisco Fighters, because they have a shared firm or family that does the marketing for both of them. And so they have a deal. And it occurred to me that I'm going to be watching a game in March or April of the Dallas Stars, and it's going to come up and say, get your tickets for the Frisco Fighters as they take on the San Antonio Gunslingers. That logo is going to be on my TV, on my big 58-inch TV while I'm watching Dallas Stars hockey.
That's
that
awesome.
logo that I first saw 4 years ago at Alamo Distillery, when I wasn't even sure I wanted to jump on board with this. That's cool. Like, that's going to just pop up. My dad in Dallas is going to see the San Antonio Gunslingers logo pop up on his TV in Maybank, Texas. That it's come a long way. It's really been impressive how it's come together, and I'm excited about what we have going forward.
For sure.
It's been quite the journey for sure. And you hear about so many startups, so many organizations that try to start up and just struggle. And there's been struggles, but compared to some of the stories we hear and the things that have gone on, I mean, this organization, because of, like you said, it started with the OG3 and moved on to current ownership with the Don Rackler and the John Wayne organization. Everybody has always put their heart and soul and their blood and sweat into making this thing work. And it's just growing and growing, and it's really exciting to watch. And to have been there from the very beginning, I mean, we're quite the privileged three of us for sure.
Very blessed.
Yeah, for sure. It's been fun. It's been exciting. And I'm very interested to see what this year will bring. I love the fact that Coach Tom Menas, James Stubing, Don Rackler, Sam Castronova, when you talk about expectation for this season going into a new league where everybody's kind of new, even Tom Menas, he's coached a little bit in this league, but never been the head coach in this league. Mm-hmm. It's new for everybody. That doesn't deter anybody from saying our goal is a championship.
Yep.
We want to win a championship. We've got our eyes fully on that goal. That's amazing.
I want a ring.
Most other.
You think we'll get one?
I don't know.
We've had this discussion before. Anything less than a ring is going to be a disappointment. Like,
true.
Like, you know, if we do really well, go to the playoffs and have a successful run, but fall short, you know, people will be proud of that accomplishment. Ownership will be proud of that accomplishment, but they will feel shorted. They will feel like they fell short of the goal. They're not going to walk away and say, oh, really, we're happy with these results. And, you know, we said we wanted a championship, but that's just the thing to say. That's not the case. They mean it. That is the goal of this organization from day one, season one in the IFL, without a doubt.
As far as us personally, RC getting a ring,
yes,
I think Don may offer us an opportunity to buy a ring if we get to that point. There's a championship out there, and they go, hey, if you want to give us, a few $100s, we can also add your ring order in there. I don't know if the team's going to be giving us rings or anything.
This is how much the rings cost, and if you guys want one, or maybe they'll do the like the fan rings that some of the organizations do.
I'll take that.
The teams do, and they give away to the fans. You know,
sure.
at games, maybe they'll have something like that. Which,
But I'll be honest.
We're happy with whatever.
The San Antonio Gunslingers win a championship and Don Rackler calls me or James Stubing calls me and says, hey, you can buy a championship ring with us. We will add you to our order if you're willing to buy it. I don't care what it costs, and I don't care what the fight would be like at home. I'm buying one.
I'm buying one too.
I mean, the way we've been connected to this franchise and the way that we've been a part of this going forward, like I would see, I would do it. I would absolutely do it. Like, are there
going to be diamonds in this ring, or are we talking cubic zirconias? Because that's going to make
I don't know.
That's going to make an impact on my decision.
I don't know. I guess there is a number that I'd be like, that's really cool, but I'm out. But my bet is, I'd like to give it a shot. I'd like to have, because it'd be a story I'd tell for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah,
it's already going to be that. I mean, our time with this is something that has been something that I talk about all the time, maybe too often. But, I would probably make the investment. It would probably be a costly investment for me, but I'd probably make the investment and make it happen.
And I want to show everybody on the show. So in our family, my husband supports me 110% with the podcast and everything. So I just want to show you a quick picture of the jersey that he got for me to show how much he really supports me. Can you see the jersey?
Yes.
Sort of.
Smoking guns.
If you're listening, you can't. But
oh yeah, if you're listening, you can't. And then on the back, I don't know if you can see the back, but
it's got our faces. All of our faces are on RC's back. That's
my face is on the back of a baseball jersey. we can post pictures of that on our page. Yeah,
it's a family thing. It's a family support. So thank you, family, because they too are also involved.
It's
Jerry
very
does
cool.
Awesome stuff, and that's I mean, he's always supported URC from day one, and he's a great guy. We know him personally, and tell him thank you from us for being such a great supporter of the show and of URC. Philip mentioned earlier stories to tell and time involved, so I'm going to put you on the spot here, since we're all insiders, the three of us, but Philip is a little bit more inside than the rest of us sometimes with the dealings and the talk that goes on in the background.
Fair enough.
Any information as far as any broadcasting this coming season? Maybe some stand-in opportunities you've been talked to about?
So my understanding is that the games will be broadcast on YouTube as before, but I believe they are working on maybe trying to get it on terrestrial TV as well.
Ooh,
which would grow the fan base. Something like my, what is it? My 35 or whatever that is. Something along that line. Not on one of the big four, but something local. I think I heard that rumor. Again, it's a rumor. It may not be true. But that would be cool if that could happen. It would certainly grow our fan base considerably when you could turn on the TV and catch something that a lot of people still don't know even exists.
Right.
They're doing everything they can marketing wise to get it out there, but there are still people that are like, what's that? What are you talking about? And as far as broadcast crew, you are going to be treated to the same play-by-play man that you've had for the past season and a half. Ralph Judkins will be back doing play-by-play, so you will be treated to that. And then you will be saddled with a new guy to do color or do the analyst position with him. Is this guy named Philip Higginbotham.
Who's that?
It's going to be the analyst. He loves to hear himself talk, and so putting another microphone in front of him is going to be a big deal. But yeah, Ralph and I are going to be bringing the games to you through Texas Sports Productions. Same setup that we've had, my understanding, the last few years. But Gabe did, Gabe did a great job.
Yeah.
But I begged. I went to James and went down on my knees and just said, please, let me work with Ralph and do this. And he's like, but Gabe. And I'm like, but, and they finally relented and allowed me to do it. And we may still hear Gabe. There are some weeks that are a little bit of a conflict for me. Maybe even that first game of the season. I'm going to be a grandfather. I don't know that I've mentioned that on the show.
Congratulations.
But my daughter is due that first week of the Gunslinger season, so I may not be at that game. I may get to watch that game, and so they may have somebody else. That may be Gabe working with Ralph on that one, depending on how things work out. I can't schedule things As far as a baby coming, my wife won't let me schedule that around the football season for some reason.
Why not just circle a day on the calendar and say this is the day, and
this is it. This is what my daughter won't do that. Like, my daughter loves me, but she's like, no, we're not scheduling the birth of my son to
that's just poor
coincide
planning.
with football.
That's poor planning.
That's a whole different thing. So yeah, that's what the broadcast is going to look like. I would love to see them get it on terrestrial TV. I think that would be great for the not for me. I don't care that my voice would be on terrestrial TV. That means nothing to me. But to grow the fan base and have somebody flipping around on their channels and go, wait, we have an arena football team here in San Antonio would be great. That'd be a great way to go for this franchise and for everything. And just another sign of the growth that we've seen going all the way from admittedly like a barn. Like we played the first season in a barn because that's all they could find. It's not like they did a poor job putting that together the first season, but remember, it was COVID. We were in the middle of COVID, and that's what they were able to do. We couldn't get the Freeman because it was a vaccine center, if you remember.
That's right.
I remember we're just being nostalgic here, talking about the beginnings of this thing, and
that's okay. It's the beginning of the year. Time when you look back and look forward. That's what you do at the beginning of the year.
I remember us doing the broadcast from that barn,
Mm-hmm.
from a funny angle, hanging off of a balcony, looking out onto the field, but not certainly not an ideal angle to see all the action. With our equipment and lines running that we had to just kind of run, behind the stands and the bleachers before each game. And, with a room behind us that sometimes we couldn't go into. So we were just locked out on this balcony because the cheerleaders used that room to change in. And so they would draw this curtain and close the door. And we couldn't, I was scared to go back in there because I didn't want to just go in there accidentally. I mean, I was like, I'm not going through there unless I absolutely have to, because I don't want anybody to think anything's going on.
I was scared to look
just
that
to
direction.
Turn around. Yeah.
So if anybody that remembers where we stood up there, I stood on one side. I stood on the most outside portion. Once you came out on the balcony, I stood on the outside. Leo stood on the inside. And when you're talking to somebody and you're doing a game, you usually turn and turn and make eye contact. I was worried about turning my head and looking because they had blinds and slats up, but you guys have had those blinds before in an apartment. They're not great about always staying where they're supposed to be. And I didn't want anybody to think that I was trying to sneak a peek into the cheerleading changing room because I'm not. And so even when I would go to turn and talk to Leo, I'm like turning my head with Lolis, Dolores, remember climbing a lot of benches to help you guys run cables. Yeah. And they're in the Rose Palace. It was a rodeo arena, and that's fine. It is what it is. But they had that rodeo arena dirt, ground. And so by the end of every game, all of our equipment was covered with this fine layer of dust of just the dirt that gets kicked up in a rodeo arena. So you have to wipe everything down. All of your cords you have to wipe back down. It was crazy. And when you go back and watch any of those, they're still there on YouTube. You watch any of those games that we broadcast, the fact that we did that with 3 people, it was you and I, and we weren't doing the hard work at all. We were just calling the game. And then Jonas, who was cameraman and producer at the same time, doing all of his hard work, it's come a long way. It's come a long, long way. Man.
I am much more comfortable behind the camera and the mic here at my desk than I am hanging off of that balcony doing a broadcast. Yeah. That is for
sure. It was an interesting time. Certainly moving into the Freeman Coliseum 2 years ago was a big step up. And now we're seeing another one. We're seeing another huge step up going from the NAL, which I got nothing but love for. It was what it was. It was a great experience, but we're moving now into the IFL, and I'm very, very excited about what that means. What does that mean? It means San Diego. It means all kinds of Arizona games.
Mhm.
There are 3 teams in Arizona. There's Tucson. There's Northern Arizona. There's the Rattlers all out there. Who else am I missing? Vegas. It means Vegas. It means Albuquerque, Duke City. I think I covered everybody now in our division conference. What do they call it? I think it's a division.
Was it division? The Panthers? Did you say the Panthers?
Oh, I did not say the Panthers.
They
Bay
are
City,
in our, Mhm.
the San Francisco area.
Did you say Naya?
Naya?
My
They saw
grandbaby, she lives in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, there you go.
So guess what?
Maybe-
Grandma's gonna
Maybe you
visit.
could go visit and go catch a gunslinger game.
There you go.
And then on the other side of the country, but not really on the other side of the country, you've got Tulsa, Frisco, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Iowa, Quad City,
Mhm.
Sioux City.
Massachusetts Pirates.
Yeah, the Massachusetts
Mhm.
Pirates.
And
Just
then Jacksonville.
a whole bunch of teams, a whole bunch of football. And what's fun about this is it's always been there before, but I didn't really watch IFL football.
I didn't
Now
either.
I have a vested interest in IFL football. So just like the NFL, where my team may not be playing, but somebody in my division is playing, or somebody in my fantasy football team is playing, and I have a vested interest in that, that becomes the IFL for us now. So even those first 2 weeks that we don't play, I'm still going to be in front of my TV watching, what these teams look like, what we're going to be going up against, what we have to deal with.
A fantasy IFL league would be fantastic if someone out there runs something like that.
Yeah, if someone else puts it together, I'm not running
Yeah.
it, but if somebody
We're not
else puts that
volunteering or
together,
So for all of those who are listening or watching, and we named a city that you have friends or family in them, let them know about this league and get excited about that. We really, one thing that we've learned is not 1 or 2 teams can sustain a whole team. It's everybody doing their part. So if you know someone in Tucson, if you knew someone in Frisco, if you know someone in Massachusetts, let them know about the league. And let's get them all involved. Let's get them excited about this league, because really, the more people are watching, the better for us and the better for the league.
For sure.
for sure. I'm excited about what that's going to look like, what the Gunslingers are going to look out. The new, I'll tell you, low key, and maybe it's even not that low key. The new fan jerseys, like I'm ready for a new season because I keep looking in my closet and going, yeah, but I've worn all these. Like I need some new stuff. I need some new fan jerseys. Did you ever get the Kali Rashad fan jersey, the chain link fits?
Jordan said he's got one for me, and I have not
okay.
had an opportunity to link up with him. But I did
Link
order.
up.
I wanted one.
I like that link up.
One for me and one for Lolis, and hopefully he's got those sitting around somewhere. But yeah, that's definitely
chain link, but it's like corrugated metal. It's not chain link.
Yeah.
It's like corrugated metal.
I definitely am looking forward to sporting one of those. But yeah, I mean, just in our interview earlier with Sam Casronova, he mentioned 2 things that got him excited about San Antonio, besides the obvious with Coach Tom Manas and ownership and everything. But he mentioned the fan base, because we have an awesome fan base. He mentioned the team jerseys, the fan jerseys, and the products that we put out there, because that stuff was even noticed by the rest of the league, because that's how good it is. So,
By the way, if you need to restock on some Gunslinger stuff, go to gunsmerch.com, guns with a Z, you know how it's spelled, merch.com, and make sure you look around the website, because some of that stuff that's there that you wanted during the season is there right now at a discounted price, because they're clearing out some of their inventory. So there might be a fan jersey that you didn't get, or a t-shirt. The Whose House Our House shirt is like $15 right now. you can go out and grab that. Or you ladies, RC, the
Yes, sir.
V-neck shirt, $15.
Can't beat that.
So go run out there and see what they have. They also have game worn players jerseys.
Yes, I saw
select a limited amount of those because there's only so many. But I'm looking across names right now like Kit Jr., Chandler, Hobbs, Harvey, Barnett, Banks, Brooks. I know we have some Cody Brooks fans.
Yeah,
there's a game worn jersey out there for some Cody Brooks fans. So go take a look at that. Now, hey, game worn merchandise is pricey. So don't go over there and then come back to me and be like, you didn't say it was. Yeah, well, yeah.
It's a little more.
It's a one of a kind. It's a one of a kind thing, and some of it is even signed by the player. And so, you're gonna pay for that. That's the way sports memorabilia is. If you didn't know that, that's the way it works. But go check them out at gunsmerch.com and check out what they have and what's going on over there. So I'm very excited about the Gunslingers. Very excited about the Gunslinger season. Do we have more Gunslinger stuff we want to talk about? Or do we want to talk about
the cheerleaders? I know you had said rumor, but there's no rumor about this. April asked me to be a judge for the cheerleaders again. Woohoo!
Nice.
So that's going to be happening January 20th. I know they've been having some camps, trying to stir up some interest and stir up some new cheerleaders. So I'm definitely a huge fan of my 6-shooters. And like always, we always sponsor one of the girls if they want to try out. So we'll continue to do that. But yeah, January 20th is when I will be going judging and getting a good look at all the new cheerleaders and see who's going to make the team and who isn't. So I'm super excited about that. And thank you again for giving me that opportunity, because I really feel connected when it comes to the cheerleaders. Not that I don't feel connected with the team or the ownership, but the cheerleaders, they're my thing. I've been rooting for them since day one.
Mo Ferrante went out and checked gunsmerch.com and said, hey, what's up? Where's Kali Rashad's number 5 game-worn jersey? Yeah, we noticed that too. That one did not appear there. That is probably hanging in an office somewhere or being taken care of by somebody else.
That one got scooped up, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I got scooped up and got scooped up fast, and that makes sense. Like when you think about it, that makes sense.
I will say this though on that subject, because it was a kind of an ongoing joke about the 0.5 thing, and someone please sell me that man's jersey and everything. I did eventually. I finally got my Kali Rashad jersey. The organization.
There you go.
Sure, I got that. And it wasn't just the standard jersey that I had ordered, but it was an actual team jersey. It wasn't a replica jersey. It was an actual team jersey with Kali's number and name on it. I highly doubt it was the game worn jersey or the actual jersey he wore, simply because the size. I think it'd be a little bit too big for Mr. Rashad. But nonetheless, it was amazing, awesome, jersey, authentic, just like what the players wear, although a couple sizes larger than what I'm sure Kali Rashad had in his locker. So I did eventually get that and have that very proudly hanging up, as well as a printed poster that was designed by Jordan, who we know does all the amazing fan jerseys and stuff, and he does all the design work, and designed a one-of-a-kind printed poster with Kali Rashad, which Kali signed, and I am working on getting a frame for that so I can hang that up proudly because it's amazing.
Speaking of Jordan and designs and some things that people might want to think about and be like keeping eyes open for, like we've been talking with Jordan for a while now. And we are he is putting together. We are just going, yes, that looks incredible.
Love it.
Putting together a Smoking Guns podcast fan jersey.
Ooh. Get excited, people.
It is
And
fire.
The first people that will see it and get an opportunity to buy it will be our patrons on our Patreon page. So if you are a patron, you will see it first and get the opportunity to lock yours in first. If you want to be a patron, you can do that. You can go to www.patreon.com /Smoking Guns Pod. That's smoking, no G, guns with a Z, POD. And you can sign up to be a patron of the show, because what we do and all of this stuff and the equipment that we need and all that's not free. So we got to put the show together. But if you want to be one of the first folks that see and get an opportunity to buy the Smoking Guns fan jersey that is coming very soon, you would need to be a patron. If you just don't have the extra $5 or $10 to throw at the show, we get that. We totally understand that, and you'll have an opportunity at them too. They're not going to sell out on you or anything, I don't think. But if you're just one of those people like, I want it first, then you can come support the show at patreon.com and be a part of the show. And they look really good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they look really good.
It's fire.
I can't wait. So that's the Gunslingers, the IFL. Very excited about all of that. But there's a whole nother side of football that we have covered on the show previously and will continue to talk about. But I think, I'm not going to lie, guys, I think the merger sapped a lot of my energy for the Brahmas. Like, I'm sure I'll get back into it, and I'm sure we'll get excited about it, but merger talk for 3 months may have been a little much.
This is kind of how I feel.
We now know what the... What is that? She's just gone. She just disappears. We now know what the merger looks like.
Sorry.
We know that the Brahmas survived, which was part of the problem. Is you felt good. I felt good through the whole talk about they're going to keep San Antonio. But you didn't know. And so it was hard to get excited. It was hard to, I didn't want to kick around ideas and get excited about something and then have the rug pulled out from under me. And in a way, I feel like we did get the rug pulled out from under us a little bit. I am not happy with the new schedule and the fact that they're starting and going to run concurrently with the IFL season. I loved having year-round football going from the NFL right into spring football, which was the XFL for us last year, and then right into the indoor season. It was great. It was great to just have that flow all the way through. My wife doesn't agree, but other than that, it was great. We're not going to get that. We're going to get an opportunity to see both of these teams, the Brahmas and the Gunslingers, in our town at the same time, and there's going to be conflict. There's going to be times where there's 2 games on the same night, and we're going to have to make decisions, and I don't like that. I don't prefer that. They didn't ask me.
No, they didn't ask us, and I won't say they won't care, but I would say it's probably a very small concern to the brass in charge of making the schedules and everything for the San Antonio Brahmas. And that is the most concerning thing for me as a season ticket holder for the San Antonio Brahmas, and as a season ticket holder for the San Antonio Gunslingers, and not knowing what the schedule is going to look like while at the same time knowing that they are going to overlap almost entirely from beginning to end, makes me really nervous about having to make decisions, not only on which game I'm going to watch live, because, I'll always watch the other one recorded if it's possible, but possibly financial decisions like, okay, I've got money invested in this game and this game, and I've got to decide which one do I want to go to and eat my investment on the other one. That's going to be tough and not a fun decision, just a decision that I don't want to have to make. I want to be able to enjoy both games, both teams.
Now, before we get all doom and gloomy, realize that both teams have away games. And so conflicts, I feel like, I could be wrong on this, they could end up being 8 straight conflicts in a row or 5 straight conflicts in a row or whatever. But I feel like it's going to be very hit or miss, and there will be times that the Gunslingers are playing over in Northern Arizona and the Brahmas are playing at home that week. And I think there'll be a lot more of that than there will be actual conflict on the schedule. But I don't know that yet. We haven't seen a schedule yet, which is the other side of this that's been really frustrating, is the pace in which information is coming out is too slow for me. Now, granted, in the past week, we've gotten tons. They announced the league. They announced the teams the next day. Today, they announced rosters, and we're going to talk a little bit about
dispersal
that
draft,
in a minute.
Coaches.
And so that information has been quick, and I want to get into coaches because I know we all have opinions on that. It's been quick over the past week or 2 weeks, but it's still too slow. I still don't have a schedule. I still don't have confirmation that they're running. I've heard everybody has rumors out there. I've heard that they're going to do the same sort of model that the XFL did last year, where they have a hub for practices and they put everything together in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then they send everybody out to play in their home stadiums. It seems like that's the way they're going. But we don't even have confirmation about that yet.
Nope.
Just some of the information. It's hard for me to get excited when we're looking at a lot of question marks still. There's one question mark that we don't have, and James Palmer asks about it. How do you feel about the coach change? I got some very specific feelings about this coaching change, and I will share them with you now. They are I don't like Wade Phillips. I have not liked Wade Phillips ever since he coached the Cowboys. I should have seen it coming when he coached the Cowboys. He is a great regular season coach. He does not coach well. He does not prepare his teams well for games that matter, and that worries me. That scares me. The other thing that bothers me about this coaching change is I feel like changing from Hines Ward, letting Hines Ward go, or Hines Ward leaving, or whatever that looks like, and moving to Wade Phillips makes last year worthless. Because last year, my whole thing was, it's his first year. He's got to learn how to do this, and then he'll get better. And I feel like he did that. I feel like he matriculated and gotten better and moved forward. And so I was excited about year 2 to see what we got from Hines Ward as head coach in year 2. Now that he's gone and Wade Phillips is here, I feel like that was a wasted season. Like I would have rather win last season. My whole thing last year is, if this is building towards something, okay, you take a hit in the first season. Yeah, but we didn't get that. We got bumps and bruises and then nothing out of that.
Right.
And I don't like the investment we made last season, only to get to this season and have Wade Phillips, who's a coach that Wade is the most likable guy in football that I know. I like the guy. If he wants to come on the show, I would love to have Wade Phillips on the show. I would love to talk with him. I like the person. But when you look at his track record in the NFL and other leagues,
as a head coach,
does not perform when the games matter.
True.
And it's too big a sample size to just say, oh, it's an aberration. He did it in Denver. He did it in Dallas. He did it in Houston last year. It's a pattern, and it bothers me. It worries me. It scares me. Your thoughts,
defensive
Leo?
coordinator, I am with you 100% on those thoughts. As a defensive coordinator, he's had a great track record. But as a head coach, it's exactly what you say. And you said he did it in Denver, and I remember that very well. And he did it in Dallas, and he did it last year in Houston. For the XFL. But he did win games in the regular season, and that was something that was lacking in San Antonio last year. And maybe we're gonna look a little bit better sooner and get some wins and that's important in San Antonio. Like we've said many times on this show before, San Antonio is a very fickle fan base, and win-loss column above all else. That's what matters. And so that could get us off to a stronger start, and maybe get some more support for the organization, the team, the league, as things get started off, and maybe that ends up being a good thing. But
maybe
where I don't see it being a good thing at all, and to give props and kudos to Hines Ward off the field, his involvement with the fan base and the city of San
True.
Antonio, and just showing and proving to everyone in San Antonio that was paying attention that he was invested in this thing, and he was, willing to build something from the ground up. Now, nothing's been revealed what the contract terms, were not agreeable.
Mhm.
Right.
Obviously, he walked away because there was something he didn't like, and someone will point to that and say, well, he wasn't that invested, obviously. But, everybody needs to be compensated fairly for their time and the effort that they put into things. And maybe some promises were made to him that weren't going to be carried out. And you can't blame someone for balking at that when they've, have an impression on what they're going to be compensated or what's going to be done for them. And then all of a sudden things change. We don't know specifics, so we can't pass judgment there. But where I will pass judgment in a very positive way, nothing but positive way, is Hines Ward's engagement with the fan base and with the people that were paying attention, the people that were around. Wade Phillips will never, ever, ever, ever go to the Fiesta Night Parade, sit in a parking lot with fans, coming up to him and shaking his hand and talking to him and say, for hours before the float even gets going, then stand on the float for another couple hours and wave hands and shake hands with people running up to the float and, acknowledging all the fans throughout the streets as you're going down that parade. That Wade Phillips isn't going to do that. Hines Ward was involved in the community. He was involved with the fan base. He proved that he cared about building something in the city. And unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that come to fruition. And that hurts. I think that's going to hurt a bit. That's going to sting.
Right. Well, I feel we all kind of agree, especially when it comes to, I liked Hines Ward, right? I didn't know him personally, but he was very outgoing. And one thing I do know is that if you're trying to make something work, why change everything? If the one thing you can keep is the coach, let there be one thing that's consistent. We're going into a new league. We're probably going to get new players. At least keep us with the same coach. I can take this information into like cooking. If you're working on a new recipe, you don't change everything and expect it to be good. You change one thing, like, well, no, we need a little bit more of this. We need a little bit more of that. But so I'm going to agree. I'm not happy with the change of the coach.
To be fair to the UFL and to the leadership there, Jason, great to see you, buddy. We've been right here. We just needed a break, man. We did 2 back-to-back seasons of football last year, and we needed a break. We needed a breather. But we're back, and we're better than ever. At least that's what I'm going to say. To be fair to the UFL, they had an issue. They had Hines Ward, who was not happy with contract details. And when you think about it, that makes sense. He was a brand new head coach last year who probably agreed to work for a lot less money than he should have because he was a brand new head coach. Now he knows what his investment of time and energy is going to be. And so he may have been looking for a little more or at least the same. And they may have come back and said, no, we're going to do something different with you. And he was like, oh, I can't take this kind of time away from my family and my other things for that number. And so we don't know. We don't know what that looked like. I'm not mad at him. I just feel like we wasted a year. And then they had 2 Houston franchises. And that kind of dovetails well into this talk, which Jay Washington has said, hey, as a Roughnecks fan, I was in the biggest of limbos. You really were, because they had 2 franchises. The only overlap they had in between these 2 leagues was in Houston, but it wasn't really in Houston. Everybody kept saying, are they going to keep the Roughnecks or the Gamblers? In this weird way, they kept both. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. But you never had fans buying Gamblers jerseys. You never had fans buying Gamblers stuff. Not in the same numbers that you did Roughnecks. You had people showing up for Roughnecks games. Should have been more, but you had them. And to have had a guy, I bought one. I went to 3. I think I went to 3 Roughnecks games last year, but just because I'm right here, pretty close to Houston, and I can jump over there and see a game. I think I went to 3 Roughnecks games. I bought a Roughnecks hat to support the league, And as a guy who bought that hat, I kept seeing it in my closet as we went through this limbo time and going, well, that was good for less than a year. Other fans would have felt the same way. Real Roughnecks fans would have looked in their closet and been like, what a waste. Now I have to go buy Gamblers gear. So I'm glad they kept the Roughnecks name. I think this turning the Gamblers in, like pasting the Roughnecks name over the Gamblers organization, is a step they didn't have to tell us. I don't mind them doing it. Like we kept the Gamblers. We're just calling them the Roughnecks. Why not just say they're the Roughnecks? Why not just have said we're keeping the Roughnecks? The Roughnecks will continue.
Why muddle it more than it already has to be?
Right. It muddies the waters a little much for me. It doesn't mean anything. Go ahead, Leo.
Well, when it comes to player contracts and this whole dispersal draft thing that they just did, that would have been hard to do, and hide the fact that, when all these Roughneck players are free agents and Gambler players are under contract. I heard a little rumor, and if Jason Spurgeon is still with us, I hope he is. Please, because I know Jason is very well connected with the goings-on behind the curtain here with the former XFL and UFL. I heard a little rumor that a lot of it had to do with venue, because now that they're going to be playing at Rice University, because TEDCU or whatever stadium is not available. Yeah. Which phenomenal venue that was, by the way.
That was the place to do this thing at. Like TDECU Stadium was great. Great place. For what spring football was, the size it was just an excellent venue for this thing.
But not available season because of some renovations and stuff that's going on. So they had to pivot and look for another venue, and settled at Rice Stadium for Rice University. The rumor that I saw online, and it was just something I saw, I don't know if this guy was just, talking out of his rear or if there's something to this. And that's why
if it was dirty, yes, then it was a guy talking out of his rear.
It wasn't dirty. That's why I wondered if Dirty can actually confirm if he heard anything about this. But the rumor was that Rice Stadium would not allow the Gambler name
I could see
to
that
be part of their venue, because
it is a Christian university. I could certainly see them going, nope, we're not doing the Gamblers. That's not something we can get behind.
I did hear
that was the reason why the Roughnecks name was saved, because they had to go with Roughnecks, Gamblers organization, Roughneck name, and the decision was made by Rice University, not the actual league. That's pretty interesting, and I could buy that if there's some truth to it. I don't know though.
I think it's the right choice. I think keeping the Roughnecks, and look, I was one of those people that said they're going to keep Gamblers because they believe that there is history tied to that name with Jim Kelly and the run and shoot offense and all of the things that happened in the 1980s with the Gamblers. But let anybody who's out there in on a little secret. Nobody connects these UFL franchises with those franchises. No football fan in his right mind goes, Birmingham Stallions, this is exactly the same team that we had back in 1983 playing in Birmingham. No. Nobody does that. Nobody can. Oh, man. Are you serious? What in the world? How did he even find the link? Who gave this man access to this show? Dirty from the...
Look, right here. Got my Brahmas flag.
I love it.
What are you guys even called now? Are you the X-Fan Show still?
Or
the U-Fan Show? What are you?
Listen, we're still the X-Fan Show, but I am venturing out and working on something new, but I have it. It's still all in the preliminary issues. I can tell you this: there will be a fuel chapter in San Antonio. So I can tell you that there will be a fuel chapter in San Antonio. All right, shoot away, Leo. Ask your question. I'll give you the truth.
Was the Roughnecks name brought
back? RC, look how beautiful you look, RC.
How are you?
Oh, you're so beautiful. Phil, not so much. Leo, you're looking good.
Oh, well, the question was, Dirty,
Yeah.
After those pleasantries exchanged, the question was the Roughnecks name revived back into the fold for the UFL because the Rice University pundits or administrators would not allow the Gamblers name to be part of their venue?
So let's look at it this way. The whole Houston situation, I guess right here, the Colts fan, Mo or whatever right here, talking about the Houston situation. So let's really look at that. You know, you have the UFL, you have the XFL and the USFL. You know, like Phil said, there really was no present for the Gamblers in Houston at all. Okay.
No.
There was a presence for the Roughnecks in Houston. 2023 happens, championship game happens, reach out, let's do a merger. So now here's where everything gets really murky and muddy. So yes, so the TCEU is at the stadium there in Houston.
Yeah, TDECU, yeah.
Right. Okay, so now it's being completely remodeled for the Big 12.
Cougars.
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
Rice Stadium was an original option back in 2023 and back in 2020. Rice was an actual option for the Roughnecks. So the reason why you guys got Coach Wade Phillips is because a certain coach didn't want to come back. From the way I understood it.
It was a contractual thing, though, right?
Sure, let's just say that. Let's just say I plead the fifth. How's that? Okay. But so that's why Wade went there. So now, if you look at it, the only thing that is sticking for Houston in the Roughnecks is just the name. It's the actual Gamblers team. So it's basically you guys now have the Roughnecks in Houston. Roughnecks now have the Gamblers.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, because the coaching staff is going to follow him over.
And a lot of the roster did too.
Yeah.
The dispersal draft, you saw them pick up a bunch of Houston players. So you're not wrong. Like, we kind of become the Brahmanex or the Rough Brahmas or something.
I mean, hey,
along that line.
you could be the Battle Dragons like we are. We took half the Sea Dragons team. I mean, come on. Here in St. Louis. But, it was, we want Wade Phillips. We want Wade Phillips. If we don't have Wade Phillips, we are not going to have a team in Rice Stadium. Wade Phillips has to be somewhat involved in this mix. And Wade was originally the main factor of why they were going to Rice. But then when Fox said, hey, wait a second, we're putting more money up, we're rebranding the Roughnecks as the Gamblers as the Roughnecks. So that's why that's the way it is. Now, there's a lot of other pieces that, I really can't talk about, but that's the main gist of all of it, of why it happened the way it did.
You can't just be like, I know information, but I'm not telling you. That doesn't
I
work.
told you some stuff I really should have said.
That's standard dirty. That's standard dirty.
I told you
stuff always comes with a disclaimer.
I told you some stuff I wasn't supposed to say. So, like with the Hines Ward thing, I know it was reported that it was a contract thing, but why is it that he is the only coach that has not left or that did not come back?
That didn't come back.
Fair. Fair question.
This wasn't a contract thing. This was Fox saying, we want Wade Phillips, but he's not going to the Gamblers. This is where he wants to go. So there was a lot more to it than that. I mean, Hines was let go because of a Fox issue.
And I hear rumors, and again, rumors are what they are, that you may see his name pop up as part of the coaching staff of the Pittsburgh Steelers soon, which would be great for him. Like, that's where he belongs. Like, that makes sense for him. And not being a head coach makes sense for him right now. Like, he was learning on the job, but I wasn't really happy with what we got out of him last year. You can go back and watch old episodes of this show, and I wasn't always really very complimentary. But we're learning. Like, he was learning, and that's fine. Dirty, I got a question for you here. You've watched both of these leagues. You're involved in spring football. There are folks out there that say that the USFL conference is going to kind of run roughshod over the XFL conference with Birmingham, with Memphis and Michigan, those teams are just better than anything the XFL put on. That's ridiculous, right?
We're gonna find out.
You and I both understand that like the XFL was just as good a football as you saw in the USFL, at times even better. So Birmingham beating up on a super easy USFL schedule for 2 straight years and being this powerhouse team is not going to look the same when they're playing XFL teams, right?
Well, I think here's what's going to be the big difference is now they're actually going to be playing in home stadiums and in front of major crowds of fans the
Big
entire
difference.
time, right?
What a novel idea. We're going to put football on in front of people to watch the
Actual
game.
people.
Listen, let's remember, though, the XFL lost money, even having fans in the seats, but the USFL made money with having less fans in the seat because of TV. So, so I will say this. It sucks that we lost 8 teams, but if you really look at this, we're going to get more quality football because the player pool for the more quality players has shrunk to 1 league.
Right.
So now, do I think that the USFL is going to run roughshod over everybody? No, I don't. I think Birmingham. I don't think a team's going to go undefeated. I can tell you that. But
Except the promise.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you got to get another quarterback. You got to get a quarterback. I'd love to see.
We got one. It's
We
Jack
got a
Cohn.
couple.
We hadn't talked about that yet, but it's Jack Cohn. We got a quarterback.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see Cole McDonald down there in the blue, black and yellow. But I think if anything, the one team that we have to worry about the most is Birmingham, because Skip Holtz runs a very fast-paced offense compared to anything that we've seen in the XFL. You know, he's got it. I mean, it's a hybrid between that DC offense and that Seattle offense. The defense that he has is a phenomenal defense. He's got a lot of his returning players. Skip does. It's. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it is. I could see. Look, I'm going to say it now. I could see everybody in this league going 500. Every team literally going 500.
We're gonna have a lot of parity. So on that subject, Dirty, and kind of involving a lot of what you just said, that brings up one of my biggest concerns with all of this. And you tell me if I'm right or put my concern to rest here. One thing that this whole merger mess, and it was a mess, the way it was handled, a huge mess, and as we talked about earlier, it was so much so, and it dragged on so long that it kind of put a damper on our, how excited we are about this league and for spring football. It made us question things. Even some of us diehard fans and supporters made us question about this whole spring football thing, and is this really going to work because of how it went about. Now, but having been through all that, and okay, there's going to be a season, and we have all the logistics being worked out. My biggest concern on how this dragged out is we are now in getting to mid-January.
Yep.
First game is supposed to be end of March. They say March 30th, I believe.
Well,
right?
March 30th, it's going to be the Birmingham Stallions versus the Arlington Renegades there in the beautiful Chalk Stadium.
Yes.
Which I actually like that stadium.
It's not a football stadium, but it's
not
not bad. It's not terrible, but it's not a football stadium.
But it's better than the
We've
dump.
had worse. We've had worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the dome is terrible in St. Louis. It's a dump. I know I talk trash on the Alamo Dome, but I actually love the Alamo Dome.
The Alamo Dome's great.
Why are they not playing at Cashman? What happened to Vegas? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's not even go there. Let's not start that.
Don't start. The best fan experience I had was in Vegas.
It was fun.
Garbage.
But that was the Vegas of it, not the football of it. Let's be fair.
Right, exactly.
So to get back to my point, my concern is with this, that was part of my excitement of the first XFL season, XFL 2.0. We're going to have we saw what they did with an abbreviated off season because they kind of rushed things to get things started to start that initial season. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what these guys can do with a full off season to put things together, to have a full training camp, get teams in, get offenses installed and put a good product on the field from day one, game one, which, being honest, nobody can say that the XFL 2.0 put a good product on the field in weeks 1 or 2 or even 3. If we're being honest. And we were excited, like, okay, well, we're going to get that this time around. And here we go again with this merger mess that ate up in the whole thing. And then we're having to redo schedules. We don't even have a schedule yet. And they're going to have to put all this thing together last minute once again and rush everything. And here we go. Bad football is coming, guys. Bad football is coming to your city. If you're in the UFL, you get to watch some bad football come, March and early April. Be ready. And I just think that is going to be very detrimental to potential fans.
Wait. Just a second. When you said we don't even have a schedule yet, there was a look. What do you know, Dirty? When are we getting a schedule? I don't need the schedule. I just need to know when.
January 15th, the week of January 15th, the schedule is going to be coming out. And I will say this, mark your calendars for Father's Day weekend because there might be a championship game that weekend. That's all I'm saying on that.
Okay.
In San Antonio?
Maybe.
I'm hearing St. Louis, but who knows?
Listen, I hear a dump. I hear it's going to be in a dump of a dome, which is not San Antonio. That's St. Louis. But that's here nor there. I don't know. I can just tell you this.
It's a ways away.
Right. Now, mark your calendars for the weekend of January 15th. I have a feeling you'll see the schedule then. Now,
circle back around to what Leo was saying. We did lose another offseason.
No. Oh, okay. The offseason.
We lost another
Put my mind at rest, Dirty. Am I right? Or is the fact that, now we have one talent pool and all the other stuff that you just said a few minutes ago, is that going to offset this?
So I'm going to circle back to what I've said. How do we know how long this has all been in place?
Right.
So here's what
I just announced it, but that doesn't mean that it just happened.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Right? I can tell you the day after the championship game, the Monday after the championship game, the XFL reached out to the USFL to start the merger talks. I know
everybody initiated the talks.
Yeah, the XFL did. Russ Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
But so call the USFL. We need to merge. Okay? Because they lost way more money than what they thought they were going to lose. So I know everybody says, it was in July. No, that's just when they wanted you to know it happened in July. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So this has been going on for months and months and months. Why do you think we didn't see the draft? Because the draft probably already happened. There was a lot of logistics that they had to work out. So these players have been working out, and we've had a few players on the show, and they say they've been in Texas working out with other players and stuff like that. Now, the USFL players have been working out with each other. Like if you go and listen to the biggest troll on Twitter, like I am, I love to stir the pot, Mark Thompson, he'll tell you that he's been working out with his teammates for months.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's really on how you look at it. Do we go by what we see, or do we logistically and logically think because this is a merger, it takes time to get things out? How far behind are we with it? How far are we behind from them telling us the actual truth?
Well, and to be fair, last season, what we saw on the field, you could draw direct lines to unprepared teams, to rookie, unprepared head coaches.
Yes.
Now you look at the head coach setup: Skip Holtz, Curtis Johnson, John DeFilippo, Mike Nolan, Bob Stoops, Reggie Barlow, Wade Phillips, and then, of course, Anthony Beck. All guys that have been head coaches. Anthony Beck first season. All guys that have done this before know what the requirement is. And you could say they're bad or good. I don't particularly like Mike Nolan. I don't think he's a very good head coach. But he's been a head coach. And he's been a head coach on the highest level. He's been in the NFL. Even success there. So whether I like him or not is not the point. The point is he knows how to prepare a football team. And so we don't have any more of these Orlando Guardians, Terrell Buckley, even Hines Ward at times had moments where you were just like, what are you doing, Coach? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, let's look at it this way. I mean, look, I mean, I like Coach Beck. I've had Coach Beck on the show a bunch of times, right? But I mean, let's look at the first 5 wins of the Battlehawks. They lucked out in those wins. The one in San Antonio, we lucked out because
For sure.
nothing against Hein Wards. He just didn't understand the rules like Coach
Right.
Beck did. The next week in Seattle, again, Hazlitt, the NFL mindset. But Coach Beck understood the rules of the XFL, and that's why we beat Seattle in Seattle. They get home to St. Louis, and they can't win a game in St. Louis to save your life. You win the first game, but then you drop your next 2. You know, and then so I love Coach Beck. I'm not, but I'm still a little worried about him because of the inexperience that he has as that head coach, as only being a 1-year head coach compared to some of the other guys. So if you look at coaching staffs, what side has the better coaching staffs and the more experience? The USFL conference does.
Yeah.
So, Dirty, I have a
yeah.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, RC.
What would you tell fans who feel like they're always getting the short end of the stick with all these different leagues? What could you tell them to say, no, this league is different. This league is going to succeed. What can you tell fans?
So, look, I've been doing this for 5 years now. Minus COVID, I had inside information that the XFL 2.0 was going to be gone, right? Vince wasn't bringing it back because of legal troubles. We get 3, then these guys fold. We get the AAF down there when you guys at San Antonio, it folds. There's a reason why. Yes, we want to support our teams, right? We want to just support our team. But for these startup leagues, you got to support every single team. You have to go and buy merch for every single one of these teams. I don't care if it's a keychain, if it's a sticker. You have to be sitting in front of your TV or recording it on your TV, your DVR, or watching it on the streaming apps. You have to go back and watch these games to get these numbers up. If they want these leagues to survive, that's what you have to do. Until we do that as a fan base, which you notice I just turned that around to the Fuel Fans United Experience Legion. See how that all works? As fans, we got to unite to make this league work. Because if we don't, this league's going to be gone within 2 years. Plain and simple.
I don't disagree.
Buy the merch, support the teams, watch the games. I don't care if you don't like the Memphis Showboats. I'm going to go to Memphis games. I'm going to buy Showboat gear. I don't care if you like if you don't like the Roughnecks, go buy their gear. I don't care if you don't like the Brahmas, buy their gear. I don't care if you like.
How can you not like the Brahmas? I mean, come on.
I'm just saying.
Don't be ridiculous.
Buy something. That's how you get this to last. We have to support this league as fans. Watch it on TV and buying the merchandise. That's the way it's going to last. We don't.
All right.
You said United. Are you going to come back to San Antonio and do like a United podcast that we did and we had an amazing time?
Of course, RC. I will. San Antonio has a very, very, very special place in my heart, and the Hyena's heart. We love San Antonio. It is my second favorite city. If I could actually move, I would move to San Antonio. I love that city so much.
Wow, I love it. And we love you, Dirty and Amanda.
She go buy her own hoodie.
So, Dirty, I just did some math in my head.
Yep.
Which may be incorrect because it's my math. It's not dirty math.
Oh, okay. Got it.
You said that you expect maybe a championship game in the middle of June. You actually said Father's Day. That's the middle of June.
Uh-huh.
So I am discerning through that.
You missed a week.
We will get a full schedule, a full slate of games on that March 30th weekend.
4 games.
Okay. And we will only get an 8-game season?
Nope. We'll get a 10-game season. You missed a week. I don't have
you gotta have 2 weeks. But you gotta have 2 weeks for playoffs.
No, you're only gonna have 1 week. You're gonna have 1 week for playoff. Why have a bye? Why have a bye in a startup league?
No. But you're gonna have your top 2 teams in each division
Okay, that's
play, and then you're going to have a championship. Oh, but you're right. I'm okay.
Why have a bye? You don't need a bye week.
No, you're not going to get a bye. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So you go right to the 10 games. So if you look at the calendar, I don't know how to do it. Let me pull it up on my phone. Can you give me a calendar? Let me pull it up on my phone. I don't know how to do this. See, I'm not used to having the control. I'm used to having all the control. I can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you talk about the 30th, right, that it starts.
Yes.
Okay. So then you have 2 games on Saturday the 30th, 2 games on Easter Sunday. Unfortunately, here goes
That's not good.
The UFL screwing up another scheduling conflict, idiots. You got to love them, morons. And then, July 6th, then you have July 6th, then you'd have July 13th, July 20th, July 27th, or April 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th. Yeah, I'm looking at my phone. I'm getting old. Then you have May 4th, which, another bad time. You might as well just put the Brahmas on the road for Cinco de Mayo, because you guys ain't nobody going to go to the game down there, are you? If there's a day on Cinco de Mayo?
If they have a special on beer, lots of people will be there.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, what they're gonna have to navigate around here in San Antonio is April 21st and 28th. Those will be the
Fiesta.
2 weekends around Fiesta. That's a bigger deal than Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, then just put the Brahmas somewhere else for that day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so if you look at it, by the end of the week, the last game will be the last week of the season would be June 1st and June 2nd. Then you go
That's my birthday there, June 2nd.
There you go. Then you go into your playoff week, which would be June 8th and June 9th, right? And then your championship game would be the weekend of the 15th and the 16th.
Right.
Now, let's really look at this. We always talked about spring football, right?
Yeah.
Now, I understand down in San Antonio, it probably starts getting hot around April, May.
Now
July.
It's 68 degrees today.
God, it's
now
42. It's raining, and we're getting ready to get 2 inches of snow.
Oh my God!
What's that?
What's snow?
I hate life. I hate life. I hate misery.
Come to San Antonio.
What's the thing you said? Snow? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's this white powdery stuff that comes out of the sky, and
we had that happen a couple of years ago. It wreaked havoc on things down here.
Oh, not down here. Not down here. But we will actually really legit have a spring football league, if you think about it. Because spring starts in March 21st?
Yeah.
Can end June 21st.
I would rather have the old schedule, February
No. Listen, I love you, but listen, come to St. Louis in February and tailgate.
You got a point. There's a lot of places that are not really nice in February.
I don't care. When you're out there, you got to wear 7 layers of clothes because you're freezing. Yeah, no, it's not fun.
It's football, man.
No.
But NFL, they tailgate when it's freezing. October, November, December, January. Yeah. Come on.
I know, not me. Not this fatty. Not this fatty.
My biggest issue is that it sets up potential conflicts with our other love, which is the San Antonio Gunslingers. Their season starts the same time. So
I get it.
Those 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks are going to be rough.
Tough.
It's going to be tough. We're going to have a lot to cover. Like as a show, it's going to be great, but it's going to be a lot
All right,
to
so let me ask
you
guys this. I see one person wearing the Gunslingers. I see the gunslinger background in the back, and then I see the BWO and all the Brahma stuff in the back. So I can safely say that Phil and RC will be at the Gunslinger games, and Leo is going to be at the Brahma games.
I don't know.
I don't think you can make that assumption because I have season ticket holders for the Brahmas.
Oh, okay then. See, there you go. There you go.
Dirty, just to change the subject real quick, because we've got Jordan Stubing on here, and he poses a great question and something we've wondered before. Jordan says, I'm curious what's going to happen with the IFL, XFL relationship after the merger. Sorry if you already touched on this, but he was putting the kids to bed. So while he's with us now, I'd like to know if you have any insight on that relationship that the XFL previously had with the IFL. Is that going to continue at all with the UFL, or is that put to bed?
I would say it's put to bed because you haven't heard really a whole lot about it, right? I don't see it going. I mean, I know that the USFL had a partnership with the IFL also, but that's not even been talked about in this merger between these two leagues. That they're going to have
a lot of moving parts to just get the merger done. That may be
Correct.
something that they
It could be
move
something down the line. But as of right now, here's what I'm saying. And the Hyena brought it up on the show one time. Like, if you look at the way these commercials are being ran, and you look at the way these presentations are being done with this whole UFL merger stuff, it's very NFL-esque. It very much has an NFL feel to it.
Agree with you.
So
on
I
that.
have a feeling that the NFL might be more involved than we all know it is.
That's huge. If there's truth to
That's
that.
true.
I mean, it would be nice. That's the key. If a team can get, or if a league can get some sort of connection to the NFL and become a pipeline for players, that's the key to making this thing last.
I love how your guys are fighting over here. Gunslingers have priorities. Michael's saying Gunslingers have priorities. Mo's saying Brahmas have priorities. Now, Michael Wayne David brings up the point about, have you heard about the website? Yeah, the website's garbage. Don't go to UFL. Go to the UFL.com. And you go to the actual website for this new merged league.
Not a whole lot there, though.
No, they're really, well, you can buy your tickets now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's links to
the merch shop is coming up.
Buy tickets. You don't know when you're buying tickets for, but buy tickets. See, this bugs me. We need a schedule.
Listen, send me an email, and I might have something for you.
Well, I will say this.
Done.
All of it shows that football is
you need
a
to put your
priority
email in the
San
private
Antonio.
chat, because I don't know that I have it. But
hold on, RC was saying something, Phil, and you rudely interrupted her.
I just said that all this shows is that football is a priority in San Antonio. Whether it be Brahmas, whether it be Gunslingers, football is the way to go here in San Antonio.
Right, yeah. And here's the thing, and this is what we're seeing is, look, I really want this league to succeed. I really do. And I think by having these two leagues merge into one, we are going to get the cream of the crop of these spring players. And we got to support it. We have to support it. And I know in San Antonio, you guys supported it very well. St. Louis is an anomaly. I don't even count St. Louis. Birmingham supported it very well. Arlington supported it very well. But we got to get out there as fans, all of us, no matter what city you're in, and just promote it and promote it. Because, Jordan, here's the thing with The Rock. The Rock is only going to be used when he needs to be used by the new league. That's it. Am I going to change my alias to Dusty? No, I'm staying dirty forever.
Nah.
Well,
I'm sending you an email right now. That's why I'm quiet. I'm never quiet. I'm sending you an email right now as we speak, because I want to see what you got.
I do too.
I'm excited, but it's a tentative thing where it never has been before. Going into the spring league, I've been like, let's go all in, and I'll get there as we get closer to the season. I'm sure I'll get there, but man, I don't know. The merger really sapped a lot of my energy. It really did.
It did not. I'm going to out myself here right now, Dirty. You might curse. Well, don't curse at me. We're a family show, but you might have
I've
some
been
choice
trying
words.
very hard not to cuss on this show, by the way.
you might have some choice words for me, or some shaming to tell me. But as Philip said, the merger kind of sapped some excitement a bit. And I, for one, you talked about earlier about supporting this league, which I agree with you 100%, not just your team, but the league. And you talked about buying merch. Here's my stance on that, though. One, because as you said, this league may not even last past 2 years, another 2 years. I'm tired of putting my hard-earned cash on stuff that's not gonna matter anymore. And I know there's a lot of people out there just like me, but this is what makes it even worse and even harder for me. I'm just gonna say it and out myself and just be honest. with the exception of one Under Armour hat that I got, was given to me actually, for the Brahmas in the XFL last year. Every single piece of merchandise hat-wise,
garbage.
Total garbage. I can't wear them anymore. They were useless, and I paid lots of money for those things. I have shirts, and some of the shirts are still okay. Others, not so much. But the quality of merch they were putting out and the prices they were asking for them. Someone earlier talked about the $180 for the jerseys that they put out, and those jerseys were honestly not very good. Crap might be a harsh word, but maybe not such a harsh word.
Right. Yeah.
I'm very hesitant to spend any money on merch right now or this coming season when, one, I'm not sure they're going to stick around, and two, I might get garbage in return like I did last year.
Well,
what do you say for a fan like that?
I'll say this. The USFL stuff, I've seen the USFL stuff front and center, and there it is. There's the Brahma hat. I saw the USFL stuff up front and center, and it was much better than the XFL stuff. 100 times better. I have the Under Armour hat for the Battlehawks that we were supposed to get. Never came, but we got them. The jerseys the USFL put out were much better than the XFL jerseys. Because those were garbage. I'm not saying go and buy a bunch of hats. I'm saying buy a bumper sticker or a sticker just to give some kind of money. Phil's looking at what I sent them. You understand what that is, Phil?
No, I don't understand what I'm looking at all.
I'll call you. I'll call you after the show, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Do you notice the dates on there, though? Do you notice anything?
Yeah. No, I see your dates. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, look, I understand that. I'm going to be hesitant when it comes to buying stuff at first, right? I want to give it a game or two before I really go and buy it because I want to see what the quality of the merchandise is going to look like. That's what I would say. Wait, you know what I mean? Wait a little bit. I still love that Brahmas hat. That's still one of my favorite hats. But this one might be my favorite, though. I just like it.
What's that?
Speaking of not being around anymore. Yeah.
I have never seen, Dirty, you're going to love this. You're going to go off on this, I'm sure. I've never seen more butthurt fans than Sea Dragons fans right now. Like, they are mad.
Kind of deservedly.
And I get it. I totally get it. But, man, they're mad.
My heart goes out to David Early. He's been, he trolled the entire XFL world, and I kept telling him, bro, listen to the show. I'm painting you the picture. I'm telling you what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And he just didn't want to believe it. Him and Robert Kobe Sr., I really feel bad for him, and then I got messages going, well, how did you know all this? Watch the show, But yeah, I mean, if you're a Sea Dragons fan, I'd really, really be ticked off.
Yeah. They did. They supported their team. They supported their team in the worst weather in the world.
But let's really look at it, though. They're doing charter flights, right? Now, if you Google what it costs to take a charter flight, it's $25,000 an hour. So you imagine you're flying that plane from Arlington to Seattle. It's sitting on the runway for 2 days. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah. It's a lot of money you're wasting. I get it. That's why it sucks that we went to 8 teams. I think they should have maybe went to 6 to 12, but then it wouldn't have been a fair trade-off for the league because, the XFL would have had 7 teams. USFL would have had 5 teams where you could have finagled a team and moved them somewhere else like they had planned into Canton, because Canton had a lease. But they wanted it a split the best that they could, and this is the best way they could do it. And it sucks that we lost some teams. But now it's time. UFL
look, it sucks that we lost some teams. It also doesn't in some ways. Like, I'm not upset that we lost Orlando. I'm not upset that we lost Vegas. I'm not upset that we lost the New Jersey.
Did you go to a Vegas game? Did you go to a Vegas game, Phil?
No.
Leo, you went to a Vegas. Oh, Leo's leaving. RC, you went to a Vegas game, right?
No, not in Vegas. Not in Vegas.
I did go to a Vegas game. Yes, to answer your question.
Leo went to a
Tell me
Vegas
that
game.
wasn't fun, and then go do what you got to do. Tell me that wasn't a fun time.
I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Even
And
though
the venue was not that bad. It was, I expected much worse than what I got because of everything I was reading and hearing and everything. And it wasn't terrible. And the seats that we had were great and very inexpensive. So
yes, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. I'm just saying that there are teams, and on the USFL side too, there are teams that I'm like, man, we lost the Generals. Who cares? There's some of that stuff where I'm just like,
Hey, listen, Mike Steele, Captain Brahma. Listen, I get it. You want to ride with the Brahmas. I'm not saying not to ride with the Brahmas. What I'm saying is if you want this league to last and you want your Brahmas to stay, go and buy a bumper sticker. Go and buy a keychain from one of the other teams. That's the only way this is going to work. You can't rely on just one or two franchises to make this league last. You just can't do it.
Hey, Dirty, I'm going to have to take off.
She's got to
All right,
leave.
RC.
We'll see you later.
Love ya.
Couple weeks. We'll
Love
be back
you.
on a couple weeks.
Where's my little brat? Here's my little brat I have. I need to have a new child.
Oh, whoa.
It's my little baby.
You've seen cute kids and cute puppies now. We've got it all going on this.
My little Sal. She loves her daddy. Say hi, Sal.
So sweet.
We'll see you later, RC.
Bye.
Say hi, Sal. All right, get out.
So, do you expect this to be better marketed, better run than what we saw last year from the XFL?
Well, let's hope. I mean,
I realize I just set the bar really low.
Yeah, let's hope they really do it. I mean, look, here's what I'll say about the USFL. The USFL side marketed very, very well.
It was okay.
Better than XFL 3.0.
That's a low bar. That's a real low bar.
Just saying. I think with the changes that have been made in place that are there, I have a feeling that this is going to be marketed better.
I do like that you have both of the major sports media entities in Fox and ABC or ESPN or whatever you want to call them working together on this. They don't have to fight with each other. They can build this thing with the resources that they have without sniping at each other. I never understood. You and I had conversations last year. All of the XFL versus USFL sniping between fans and even leagues and teams. It didn't make sense to me. I'm glad that's all gone. I'm glad that we can just have spring football and enjoy it.
Really? Have you looked? Have you looked? Because it's not. It's even worse now. You have the USFL.
It'll go away.
You have the USFL diehards talking trash on the XFL diehards. You have the XFL diehards talking trash on the UFL diehards. And I think that's the reason why the Roughnecks got moved to where they are, so they can unify the fan base, unite the fan bases, and give us an experience and let us grow as a legion. See how I did all that again? Huh?
Right.
See how I turned that whole thing around again?
That's great.
There you go, right? See?
Rules. Are you hearing XFL or USFL rules?
Listen, I know people are going to hate me. And let me explain my reasoning why. How many USFL players made active rosters compared to XFL players? Which league had more on active rosters?
USFL.
It was definitely the USFL.
So, if you were going to be the league of opportunity to get your guys to the next level, right? What rules would you much rather want to use?
The XFL rules, because they were more fun.
The XFL rules were more fun, though. Yes,
they were more fun, but
the tiered. I love the tiered extra point.
It was very cool.
I did too.
And I thought the kickoff worked so well.
I did too. But if you want to get your guys to that next level, why wouldn't you be more complacent with the goal that they're going to? In Major League Baseball, do they change the rules in minor league baseball to Major League Baseball? No, they're exactly the same.
All the time.
No, they're not. They're insane. That's hockey.
They test out rules on minor league systems, which is great.
Exactly.
And I hope that one day we get that in spring football where, hey, let's try this for 2 seasons in spring football and see if it's something that makes the game better.
I would much prefer them to go more with the UFL rules because of the end goal for these players than the XFL rules. Unless the NFL
rules were so much fun.
They were, but hear me out. Unless the NFL is going to adopt some of the XFL rules, there's no need of having them because, in my opinion, it's not helping the greater good to get the player to the next level. And that's what it's about. It's about getting the player to the next level. And it's not
nobody wants to hear your logic, though. They were more fun. We want the XFL.
They were. I love the XFL rules. Loved them. I mean, hell, the XFL rules is what got us to beat you guys in the first game of the year.
True.
So
true.
Simple. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. I love you guys.
So you're saying next week we might see a schedule pop out.
I'm just saying the week of the 15th the schedule is going to come out.
That would be next week. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm dirty. I don't know anything. That's all.
Mo Ferrante. 1 foot down, 2 foot down. Meh.
Again, I love the XFL rules, but it's about getting to the next level. Logically, it makes more sense unless the NFL is going to adopt XFL rules. It makes more sense to follow more of the USFL rules than it does the XFL rules.
Yeah, fair point for sure. Yeah.
XFL rules were better. What part of you guys? Listen, you're lucky this isn't my show because I would all be calling you the I word right now. This is Phil and Leo and RC's show, so I'm not going to call you guys that. Yes, I get it. That's why I don't watch college football because don't even get me started on college football because I don't like what they do to those kids. So don't even get me started on college football.
Well, that's a whole different conversation.
That's a different conversation.
A whole another story. So yeah. So yeah.
Well, we're sort of excited for the UFL season. We've got time to get excited because they're not starting when they should be starting here in a few weeks.
They are starting exactly when they should be starting.
No.
Yes, exactly when they should be starting.
Definitely not. I need year-round football, Dirty.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Exactly. I want spring football, not winter football. I want spring football.
You have a dome. You're fine.
So do you. You have a dome too.
I got 68-degree weather in January. I'm not worried about that either.
That's what I'm saying. You got a dome. So when it's 100 degrees in June, you could go walk into a 72-degree dome and not be.
But do you know what tailgating is going to be like in 100 degrees? And it gets 100 degrees in April.
Listen, you're going to have to drink a lot of water, and Leo have to cut back on the beer. That's all there is to it.
But he's starting right after the Super Bowl.
No,
that's the bet. This is the way I have spoken. Hey,
I like what Jordan Stubing is saying here. Imagine, the Brahmas and the Gunslingers pulling a championship this year, and that would be phenomenal. And I could say with certainty that is a goal of the Gunslingers this year. Brahmas, not so much. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but like you said, Dirty, a lot of parity going to be in that league right now, so it's hard to say. It's a full reset, new coaching staff, new players, new everything. So we don't quite know what to expect. But from the Gunslingers, there's a little bit more certainty. Even with all the changes. So
I'll give you guys something. So I wouldn't be surprised if San Antonio doesn't have an NFL team within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
What?
Listen.
Oh man, there's a little old man up 35.
Nope.
Nope.
That ain't got nothing to do with it. Stop it.
Let me explain.
That ain't got nothing to do with it.
Let me explain something to you. I understand. I know that there are a few teams that in the league that aren't doing well in their markets. The league is wanting to expand, but wanting to add teams to the conferences and reconference again and rezone the conferences again. And I do know that San Antonio has been brought up buy a guy up on Highway 35 after the success of the XFL.
Look, for San Antonio to have an NFL franchise, we need two things that we do not currently have. A steady fan base, no matter what the record is. We don't have that. And corporate sponsorships, and we don't have that.
Well,
those are the two big things that the NFL needs, and we don't have either of them right now. We could one day. We're working that direction, but we don't have either of those things.
I've just heard from some sources that I have within the NFL that St. Louis has been talked about of getting a franchise back, and then because of the XFL, and San Antonio has also been talked about of getting a franchise.
I mean, I think it belongs in San Antonio. I think it would be successful, but the earmarks that everybody looks for is can you get us corporate dollars? It does not exist in San Antonio in the numbers that you're talking about, and can you get a steady fan base to show up, at least 30,000 people to show up for a team that is going to go 2-15. That ain't happening in San Antonio. I'm telling you right now.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I'm just saying I've heard rumors that there are some franchises that are looking to relocate even. So I know that Jacksonville is looking to relocate, and Shad Khan has a very somewhat special relationship with St. Louis because he lived here in the St. Louis area. So, and then the Chargers are looking to move more east into a big state.
They're not happy in Los Angeles with 0 fans?
They're
weird.
Looking to move east into a big state. So
Jay Washington pops in, and Leo's already talked about this. The Jones family are never letting San Antonio, Rio Grande Valley, West Texas market up. Joneses don't have anything to do with it, and let me tell you why. When it makes sense for the NFL to have a team in San Antonio, they will realize that Jones is one vote, and Jones will realize that he can make money because they all share money. They all throw it in one pot together and share it. As soon as it becomes reasonable and worth making money in San Antonio, even Jerry Jones will go, all right, that's fine. I know everybody. Look, you're not losing Dallas Cowboy fan. When San Antonio becomes an NFL market, Dallas Cowboy fans aren't going anywhere. Right. They will still buy their merchandise. They will still be fans. He's not going to lose anything by San Antonio getting a franchise.
And look, if you're saying, like here, so the argument that Jay has is null and void because what is just 2.5 hours away from Dallas?
Houston.
What has an NFL team now?
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter that's the thing. Like I say, everybody here in St. Louis, when they all complain about Stan Kroenke, I'm like, it was a dude who took a franchise that was worth $800 million and overnight turned him into a $2 billion franchise. What are you going to do as an owner?
Right.
And what happened? Yeah. They shipped him out. They know what money. They know the money they can make in the cities. They know money they can make.
But still, Stan Kroenke and Dean Spanos are terrible, awful, evil people.
Well, I mean, terrible owners.
Art Modell also.
Right. Yeah. So,
Bud Adams, ditto.
Right.
Awful people.
I can tell you, I'm like Mo here, Colts fan Mo. Says would love to have an NFL team here in SA. I'd be there, win or lose, and in full force.
We need more fans like that.
I'm a Broncos fan, but I would be there. Ticket prices have to be reasonable, though. I mean, which is
that's not the NFL. Then
that's a problem in the NFL.
That's not the NFL. Ticket prices are not reasonable,
and that's going to be the challenge here in San Antonio because
it is.
We don't have a market here that's willing to pay that type of money on a regular basis.
I think you guys
really don't.
I think you guys give yourself. I don't think you guys give yourself enough credit. I really don't. I think you guys would definitely support a team for at least 5 to 10 years. But they bet within those 5 to 10 years, they better start putting a team together. You know what I'm saying? And they better start putting players on the field. For the amusement parks. So
here's what she originally said. Payment plan. I know, Dirty, you're probably not following the Gunslingers like we have been. Mm-hmm. They have rolled out a monthly subscription for season tickets, and it is genius. You start paying on your season tickets at the end of this season, and by the time you get to the season, you've paid whatever your price is, but your season tickets are there. It didn't hit you all at once.
Right.
It came out, and it's genius. They're doing it with the Gunslingers. They not stole it. They borrowed the idea from the Tulsa Oilers, also in the IFL. That is the way tickets are going, by the way. It's happening.
Now, if you look, the XFL kind of did that. You put a deposit down, and then you could defer your payment for a few months down the line to pay the next payment. It wasn't that you had to pay it all up at front.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the Rams kind of did something like that similar here in St. Louis when they were here. You paid up a little bit, and then, you had to pay so much every month to keep your season tickets. It's a smart idea. But again, it's the NFL. The NFL really doesn't care because they make so much money. They don't really, no NFL team really loses money at all.
No. Well,
no.
That's revenue sharing. That's revenue sharing.
Right, exactly. It's revenue sharing. None of them really lose money.
The Dallas Cowboys and the, Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles carry teams like Jacksonville and Cleveland and some of that kind of stuff.
Look, if you really look at it, you guys are like a city like Buffalo. San Antonio kind of reminds me of Buffalo.
Very Pittsburgh-like. Hines Ward made the connection between San Antonio and Pittsburgh, and I haven't been able to forget it. It's
the die-hardness that you guys have for the football down there. With the Gunslingers and stuff like that. The way you guys had it for the Brahmas. You guys are a very hardworking, blue-collar city.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Buffalo. And it seems like if you guys get behind something, you guys are behind it 100%, win, lose, or draw. I mean, even when your guys' team was sucking it up in the XFL, you guys were still putting 10 to 11,000 in there.
Yeah.
So
don't look at Spurs ticket sales if you believe that we're in win, lose, or draw. Just don't look at Spurs ticket sales right now if you think that's the case.
Wemby is the future, man.
Yeah, Wemby is the future of the.
He might be the future, but he's not selling tickets right now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's young still. Give it some time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we are way into overtime. We lost our C already. She had to jet. Dirty, you're always welcome. They make me say that, so you're always welcome to come on the show. Spend time.
I was just scrolling through Facebook. I saw it. I was like, oh, my second favorite podcast. My video cast is back on, the Smoking Guns. I got to get
we're here. We're back. We're gonna go. I think every couple of weeks until we get closer to the season, and then we'll start picking up weekly. There's not enough to talk about right now to come on every week. You guys do it.
You can have me come on, and I can talk for hours.
Oh, we know.
Oh, yeah.
We know. You're aware.
Leo, I'm still waiting for your email.
Oh, yeah. I'll send that here to you in just a second.
Dirty, he is of the Fuel Network.
No, the Pro Football Alliance. We've changed it.
Fan United Extra League or whatever it is. I don't know what he's calling it.
B-Ball Live with Daddy Ed and the man with the hyena herself. And then the X-Fan show with me and A-Train will be broadcasting tomorrow, breaking down everything and all that good stuff.
Who's your Super Bowl picks, Dirty? We're getting into playoffs now. We know who the playoff teams are. Who's Super Bowl picks?
NFL football's over. What are you talking about?
So I'm going to tell you this. The script is written. The Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl, and it's going to be the Chiefs and Phillies.
Can we just kick him off the show now?
Yeah,
Bye,
you're
Dirty.
done.
Bye.
You're done. Chiefs and Eagles, you're out of here, bud.
Just saying.
You just picked the division rival of both of our teams to go to the Super Bowl. Goodbye. There ain't no way, dude. You come on my show and you pick the
Eagles and the Chiefs. You know who you're talking to, Dirty?
You gotta be kidding me. I was asking you a real, legitimate question, and you come in here and disrespect me and my family this way. I can't believe that. Mark says he's got the 49ers and Ravens. Okay, going all chalk. I get it. Do you want to, if I let you back in, will you be nice?
No, look, I was joking about the script being ripped. I have a feeling it is going to be the 49ers and Ravens. That's
all chalk. Like that's
my
chalk.
pick. That's fair.
I believe that.
But if you listen to the idiots, the script's been written. So I've been, I got a buddy of mine he's a huge see, look, this is a family show. I would be calling the team west of St. Louis something totally different. So
I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think they've got what they need to have to make a playoff push. In the NFC, obviously, I'm gonna go with Dallas because, look at my wall.
How many games did Dallas win on the road this year?
Sir, to get to the Super Bowl, we only have to win one road game.
Oh, I'm just asking, how many games did Dallas win on the road?
And maybe not even that. If somebody takes San Francisco out in the divisional round, we ain't got no home game or no road game.
You got a point.
So I'm a fan. I'm going to go with my team until I can't go with my team anymore. So I'm going to go Ravens, Dallas, and hope against hope. Like maybe this is the year. Actually, it is the year because they put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor. As soon as they did that, curse broken. We're going to win Super Bowl.
Well, let's hope.
Now that Jimmy's in the Ring of Honor, it's done. It's a done deal. Like, it's going to happen.
All right, Leo. What about you, Leo?
Well, I'm going to go with 49ers, Ravens as well. That's who I honestly think is going to be there. But I'm telling you right now, Kansas City is going to lose in the first round to the Dolphins. Hey, listen, I was actually hoping – my brother's a big Dolphins fan.
Entirely possible.
And I was hoping the Dolphins would lose that game simply because I want them to play Kansas City first. If they win that game, Pittsburgh goes to Kansas City, and I don't think Pittsburgh has a chance in that game, maybe a small one. But I really like Miami's chances against Kansas City, and I would love to see an early exit from them. And, yes, I'm hating, and so what?
Now, Leo, I have to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Did you see now, Phil? Everybody knows who my favorite XFL quarterback was. Everybody knows who it was. The Nooch. The Nooch is Gooch. Leo, how do you feel about the Nooch being signed to your Denver Broncos?
They're going to need a quarterback because Russell Wilson ain't going to be there
re-signed. Not only was he signed, I don't know which signing you're talking about because he was signed for this season and has spent the entire season, going back and forth between the active roster and the practice squad. But they just re-signed him to the 2024 season.
Yeah, baby.
So, the Broncos have a quarterback on their roster for next year already signed, and that is DiNucci. And I'm not surprised from what I've heard. He's done very well. And what I saw of him in the preseason, I thought, if he got a chance to get on the field.
Former Dallas Cowboy Ben DiNucci, by the way.
It don't matter. I have the True Brand hat in my closet there. And, my son's favorite team is the Broncos. And they got the Nooch, and right there, the Noocher flag right there. I
like your son. He's a good kid.
So I was hoping
it can't go any worse than the Russell Wilson experiment went.
That's true. And I was hoping the Nooch would come back and, with Jay Peasy and all that, be the Battlehawks quarterback because then we'd have ran the division.
No, that's not happening.
Jack
Cohen, MVP of the league. Can you believe that?
Wow, Phil.
You talk about Jack Cohen, but let's not forget the other guy that's still on the roster. Kurt Benkert. It was a very abbreviated span that he was the starting quarterback for the Brahmas. But while he was playing, you could see the arm talent there. You could see the difference. The problem was same problem that we had.
They lost that game.
There was nobody protecting him. He was running for his life. He was getting destroyed. But I liked what I saw from Kurt Benkert in the short time we got to see him before he got hurt.
Right. Like I said, let's hope with this new merged league, we see a better quality of play on all 8 teams.
I will tell you, I was kind of joking about Jack Cohen, MVP of the league, but I will tell you, Dirty, you give me Jack Cohen, a passable offensive line, which he didn't have last year.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And Cody Latimer as his safety valve tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I might like Jack Cohen a lot.
I mean, listen, I know everybody wants to talk about Akeem Butler. I was a huge Latimer fan. Huge Cody Latimer fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, please get him. I mean, listen, Akeem, yeah, he was second in the league in rush, receiving next to Jay Peasy, who we have, right? But the problem with Butler is Butler would miss the easy passes, but he would catch the hard ones.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be very, very frustrating when he's your number one target and he's dropping 50% of his balls, but catching him when he needs to. So like when Latimer came out there, I was like, oh my God, yes, please, Coach Beck, get Latimer. But no.
We got him. And there's nothing better for a mediocre or a mid-level quarterback. I don't want to call him mediocre. That sounds bad.
Well, I like better mediocre. And the only reason why
nothing better for a mid-level quarterback than to have a playmaking tight end as a safety valve. It's so important.
100% agree. Look at Tom Brady.
I brought this up before we started the show, believe it or not.
That's exactly what Philip said, yes.
I mean, look at Tom Brady. Look, as much as I hate Patrick, as much as I hate the losers down I-70 from me,
no.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, one of the greatest two tight end quarterback combos. Listen. Oh, Jesus, don't even get me started. Oh, God. CJ Stroud. Stroud.
I did very well in my fantasy league thanks to CJ Stroud. That guy, I mean, he's the real deal.
Mark Yamaguchi asking what we think of the Texans, and everybody got excited. So go ahead, Dirty.
Listen. CJ Stroud is my NFL man crush. He is my NFL man crush. The kid is good. The kid is posed.
He had a good season.
He had a very good season. I honestly think if CJ Stroud would not have gotten hurt in weeks 15 and 16, CJ Stroud could have been the first player since Jim Brown to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and MVP because he was that good. I love Will Anderson Jr. that they got. I like the kid that just got hurt, their receiver, Tank, whatever he is. What was his name? Tank Dell or whatever.
Dell, yeah.
Yeah, their receiver. I loved him. I'm telling you, that team with DeMarco Ryans, that is going to be a team for the next 5 to 7 years that is going to run roughshod in that.
As long as they don't screw it up, which has been a Houston thing, but
that's true.
But you're right. Now with the
what they screw up though. Look what they got for Deshaun Watson. Out of nowhere.
Right? Yeah. Look what they got for Deshaun Watson. I mean, you think about what CJ Stroud did this year. He might have had one of the top 5 greatest rookie seasons in NFL history.
The second best move the Houston Texans have made to build their franchise was getting rid of dude we just mentioned. What was his name?
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Getting rid of Deshaun Watson at the right time. Second best move they've made as a franchise.
Yeah.
The best move they've made as a franchise was hiring DeMeco Ryan. That guy's a coach. That guy, and I knew it. As soon as they made that hire, I go, this is good. This is going to work out well for him.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 best things they've done.
Well, no, 3.
They've made a lot of
CJ. You got to put in CJ.
Yeah, but you don't draft CJ without what you got from Deshaun Watson. Like they don't pull the trigger on that if they kept Deshaun Watson. So losing Deshaun Watson and having the picks to play with made CJ Stroud possible.
But listen, they could have drafted Anthony Richardson, number 2.
We don't know. The jury's still out on Richardson. I still think he's going to be a decent player.
I think he's going to be.
He got injured. We don't really know what.
Yeah, but I mean, let's really look at what CJ did. Over 4,000 yards.
He played an incredible.
Almost broke the NFL rookie record for yards passed in a season. Mm-hmm. Right. I think I think he tied the NFL record for rookies with touchdown passes. Right. If not, came close. Through the least amount of interceptions that any first rookie head coach has done, or, rookie quarterback. I mean, the kid played great. And that team is going to be very, very, very scary for a very long time.
In 2 years. I think the other thing I'll say about Houston is I think they have won their Super Bowl for this year. Getting to the playoffs, having the turnaround that they've had.
The last time they got to the playoffs was 2019.
They've surpassed all expectations for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect them. I really don't expect them to be
playoffs too.
I think Cleveland beats them. Who are they playing?
Cleveland. I think Cleveland beats them.
That's a tough defense, though. That is a tough
defense.
No,
they're playing in Houston.
No.
Cleveland beats them. I think Cleveland beats them.
I don't think so.
That's a tough defense in Cleveland, man.
Cleveland is my AFC team, always has because of Madden and all that, right? Always have been my team. Because they always had terrible quarterbacks, right? They always had terrible quarterbacks. So you'd always
Bernie Kosar, man. Bernie Kosar was the man back in the day.
When did Madden ever have any good quarterbacks? Bernie Kosar wasn't in Madden games.
Nope.
That's all I'm saying.
You're basing your history off of a video game. Come on, Dirty.
No, listen, I love the Browns. I love the Browns. But
Vinny Testaverde.
Jesus, stop it.
He said good quarterback.
I'm showing my age here.
I'm just saying.
Otto Graham was amazing. What are you talking about?
Otto Graham was the bomb. Jim Brown was phenomenal. I remember watching Jim Brown run all over everybody.
Back when the Cleveland Browns were good.
Right when they were good before the NFL.
Right.
No, listen, the way that team is playing and the way that Ryans has that team coached, I have a feeling there's a very good chance they could beat the Browns because of the emotional high. Do I think they'll go past the first round? Depending on who it is. But I could very easily see them. I love Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett might be next to TJ Watt, might be my favorite DN to watch in the game today. Right? And I'm not saying, you're right, the defense needs to step up, for Houston, but I'm just saying, don't count Houston out because CJ Stroud, like if you watch him play, he's never out of the game. He's always on the sideline, yelling at his teammates, watching the pad, looking at what he needs to do. Where I've seen other players, a.k.a. Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, two guys that I love, look what happens when they're out of the games. They're just sitting on the bench, sulking. This is a rookie who is playing like he's in his fourth or fifth year.
He definitely looks like a seasoned veteran in his rookie year.
Oh, he looks good.
No doubt.
But he's still a rookie, and Myles Garrett is going to eat his lunch.
But they do have Joe Flacco starting. So
Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl, dude.
That is true. I love Joe Flacco. But what's the odds
Joe Flacco is the new Brad Johnson.
It beats
There you go. No, Joe Flacco, he has been adequate this season.
I'm a huge Joe Flacco fan.
But I really think I think Cleveland has the pieces, and I think Houston has overachieved for this season. Like I didn't expect them to be here. I don't think anybody did.
No.
I don't think they expected to be here. And so they've gotten to this point. I really feel like they're going to go, man, this is good. This is really good.
Yeah.
And that'll be like Cleveland will take them out this week.
All right, I expected him to go 500, a game above 500, a game below 500. I didn't expect him to win their division with a rookie quarterback. And
hey, wait, timeout. Houston, and I know we got some Texans fans on here, and you're about to get really mad at me. Houston did not win their division. Jacksonville lost the division.
Boo.
Jacksonville handed it to them on
There's
a plate.
some truth to that.
Jacksonville had to win one of the last 4 games.
Yeah.
And that's not even a thing.
But
Jacksonville lost the division. Houston didn't really win it.
Texans had to lose at least one of those remaining games too for that to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, they backed in. They backed into the division. And look, be proud of it. You won the division. It's a division championship. Nobody takes that away from you. But Jacksonville, should have won the division. They spit the bit in a big way. In very much the way, and Houston fans, I'll say the same thing about the Cowboys. The Cowboys did not win the NFC East. Philadelphia lost the NFC East.
Right, exactly. So
that is true. That is truth.
And as Mo says, Mo Ferrante, they needed some help from the Titans in that last game.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel is a better coach than anybody gives him credit for.
He is.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel's a better coach than anybody gives him credit for.
That is
People
true.
talk about him getting fired this offseason. That's crazy. You don't fire that kind of guy. You keep that kind of guy around.
Right, yeah. All right, fellas. Well, I got to go because my dog is
we're way towards this. This isn't even Smoking Guns podcast anymore. This is like 3 fat guys talking foosball.
Well, that's funny. I got food sitting right here waiting for me.
There you go.
Yeah, go get it. Go get it. Thanks for joining us, Dirty. We
appreciate
Dirty.
it. Yeah, we're not listening anymore. We're done.
We're done. We're done with you. We're done.
Dirty of the X Fan Show, B-Hawk Live. Go check him out. Go like their pages and spend some time with him and Amanda and Daddy Ed. All those folks. They're great folks. We like them a lot. Well, we like Amanda and Ed a lot. And, Dirty is what you have to deal with when you get Amanda and Ed. So lots to be excited about. We went 35 minutes over what we planned on going because we're excited about football.
We're so
excited about the NFL playoffs. We're excited about the UFL that's going to take some getting used to.
The IFL, we had all this quarterback talk, and I didn't get a chance to tell Dirty the best quarterback he's going to see all of this coming up season is one by the name of Sam Castronova.
Sam Castronova. He started out the show with us. If you missed it, go back and watch or listen to the first 20 minutes or so. We had Sam Castronova, the quarterback one for the San Antonio Gunslingers in the Indoor Football League. That might be the thing I'm most excited about going forward. I don't know. The NFL playoffs, when your team is in it and holding a number 2 seed, is exciting. It's a gut-wrenching kind of excitement because the season could be over like that. But for now, I'm excited. Mark Yamaguchi says it just right. Guns up. That's what it's all about. It's all about Gunslingers football. Horns forward as well as we move into the UFL.
I think it's a little icky saying horns forward, though. I mean, I understand I'm not saying it should go away. I'm just saying the guy who came up with it and the play on words, horns forward.
We didn't fire him. He left.
Yeah, and it's a little icky, but I'm not saying it should change. I understand why it should stay, and we should still use it absolutely. But it's not. It doesn't feel the same.
If you like what we do and you would like to help us continue to put the show together, you can be a Patreon at www.patreon.com and /Smoking Guns Pod. We thank all of our patrons. I don't have the list pulled up right now. I should. That's my bad. But Mo and Iris, Kim and Greg, Jay Washington, James Stubing, Jordan Stubing. I think I almost got them all. If I forgot you, I'm so sorry. I did forget somebody. I'm a bad host. Bad host. So much that I am going to pull it up because I don't want to forget. Alfred Rodriguez, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
No,
don't want to forget those guys. Yeah, Alfred Rodriguez.
I feel like you're missing somebody.
James Palmer.
Yes.
Jay Washington, Jordan Stubing, James Stubing, Kim and Greg, Herman Robles is the one I almost missed.
Herman.
And I don't want to miss that guy. And Mo Ferrante, if you want to be part of that list and you want to help us out, go to www.patreon.com/Smoking Guns Pod, Smoking No G, Guns with a Z, POD. Support the show. Help us continue to put it on and put it together. And we even have some cool stuff that we do from time to time for you guys. First and foremost, coming soon, your opportunity to buy the Smoking Guns Podcast fan jersey coming out very, very soon. Ooh, Jordan comes up with a great idea right here at the end. He's sticking with us. Maybe we work out a deal where the top patrons get their names on the jersey, on their jerseys.
Oh,
we'll talk about that.
Maybe
something that we can do. Go support the show if you have the ability. If you don't worry about it. Just share the show, like and subscribe on whatever way you're listening to or watching this, and share the news. Share that we're doing the show. We're back. We're not going every week, just not yet. Every couple of weeks we'll be back to talk gunslingers, Brahmas, NFL. We got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys winning the Super Bowl when that happens. So we'll be discussing all of those things. Stick with us as we get into the season. It's 2024, and there's big football coming, Leo.
Yep. Waited for it.
Artie's trying to call both of us right now.
Yeah, I didn't know. I see your face. I'm like, does he hear my ring here? Yeah, he thinks we're off already.
When it comes to football, professional football, whether it's up in Vegas or down in Orlando's gone, Jacksonville, if it's the 100-yard variety or the 50-yard fight, when it comes to football, professional football, the 210 has got something to say. We don't have her here. Bang, bang. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with us.
Guys.
Long, and 7 of you stuck with us all the way through. We love you. We appreciate you. We're going to end the stream here and find out what the heck Dirty wants.
Dirty wants, yeah. Have a good night, guys.